created everything. Look what a powerful being you are. You did these things, but now you're in a human body, you forget the power you have.
What you do is what the whole universe is doing at the place you call here and now. You are something the whole universe is doing in the same way that a wave is something that the whole ocean is doing.
You're doing it.
Doing what?
Using your imagination.
Welcome to Meta Mysteries, where you don't know what you don't know. My name's Jonathan.
I'm Sean.
And in case you didn't notice, we have made a name change. We are now Meta Mystics. This is something that I think it was inevitable just with our own kind of evolution of understanding as we've done, you know, a lot of episodes over the past 2+ years, and just kind of seeing ourselves and the rest of the one out there for who we truly are. And I do believe that it was actually kind of like our destiny to get to this point. And I'm not even just saying that to sauce it up. Like, I legit believe that we are doing what like was predestined almost, kind of like, you know?
Oh, absolutely. And I think we have gotten our confirmation on that. You know, we were having that conversation. We were going over some of this stuff, and just the way that all played out, dude, it was almost like you can't even question that. You know, it was such a cool experience.
We don't believe in coincidences. So the other night, Sean and I, we were talking on the phone, and it's
the episode that will never air, really.
Yeah, because we were talking for a good hour and a half or so, I think.
At least.
And just kind of shooting the shit, you know, not necessarily talking about the podcast or anything, just like catching up with each other more on a personal level and thinking about, you know, what we want to do kind of in the future. And dude, we got this idea of changing the name of the podcast to, instead of it being The Mysteries, just calling it The Meta Mystics, right? And I brought it up to Sean, and Sean was like, "Oh yeah, I like that." And I was
actually before you even dropped it on me, I was like, "Oh, I don't know, man. I'm getting a little scared," because like you're always willing to make those leaps and jump off that cliff, you know, and really make a change for the better. And I'm like, "You're scaring me, man." And then you hit me with that, and I was like, "Oh no, I love that."
Yes. And so it's a sketchy move to make. I'm not going to lie, you know, changing the name of your show that you've kind of been working to build up for the past couple of years. But I think for us, we're nowhere near understanding all of it. Not even close. And as a matter of fact, we'll probably live for the next 100 years, because I'm going to live until like 135. I don't know about you, but
I see that. Yeah, I don't know. I'm hoping I got another 50, but I don't think so, dude.
I don't feel good about my odds.
Let's be honest, right?
Yeah. But yeah, and so we kind of were thinking like, dude, I feel like that this is more of a mystical show. It's not so much like you don't know what you don't know as much anymore, because we feel like we have a pretty good understanding about what's really going on. And I don't know, Meta Mystics just felt right, you know?
Oh, absolutely. And you know, it's interesting because when we first started, I was in a totally different place as far as what I thought I understood. And sure, there's things that I've gone back on as far as like, well, yeah, I still believe that. But I feel like sometimes you have to go through these things and go through the trenches and really look at everything in order to say, okay, now at least I have a better understanding of where I am. And dude, it's taken us 2 years.
Oh, dude. I mean, we've done, I think, close to 200 episodes, or maybe a little bit more than 200 episodes.
Over that.
We've talked about so many different realms of thought. We've gotten into, you know, a bunch of different philosophy and witchcraft and magic. And, you know, it's crazy how much information has gone through the filter of our own minds, nonetheless, all the one out there. And so I feel like we have and that's something that we were always really trying to do. We were always trying to get to the bare bones, what's actually happening. You know, and I think that, and we always give it a shout out, but The Magician by Philip Cooper really set the tone on that. That was something to where, all right, we're going to take away the glitz and the glam of magic and just see it for what it is. What is actually going on at the bare minimum, and breaking it all the way down to its absolute bare bones. And it's just like been a full-on downhill effect from there in a good way.
Mm-hmm.
You
Yeah.
know?
And there's a lot of aspects of that. I think we went into it that night as far as, whenever you are trying to create a reality for yourself, let's say you're trying to manifest something, I mean, sure, there could be a multitude of things that are happening at the same time, but also, we don't really know the exact truth of how it's actually happening in that regard, as far as, are you jumping to another timeline where, in fact, that thing does happen, because I think it's harder to think that you're changing everything around you in the world that you were already in. And so we were kind of talking about that. And, we don't fully know, dude, but I feel like we're a bit closer as far as understanding why it's happening. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah. And it's so much fun, really, whenever you hear something and you hear it to be like truth. You don't need to go and check a history book to see if so and so believe this very statement. As a matter of fact, most of the quotes that we hear are, at least initially, were of people that we never heard of. Like, you talk about Rumi. Had no idea who the hell he was, right? And now all of a sudden we mention him almost every single episode. But at that time, there was a message that resonated, and that's really the core behind every single thing. Who cares who said it? Who cares when it was said? Who cares what even the context of the conversation was? What you just heard, did it resonate with you? And why? Why does information resonate in the first place? Like, what's the science or whatever behind that? Like,
Right.
why is it that certain things just, they feel right going through?
Well, I've actually thought about this, and there was something that we have said numerous times as far as when it comes to children, how they are closer to that other side, and I feel like I kind of had this thing, just like an epiphany, and it's so simple, you know what I mean? But it's like they haven't had the experiences and the dogmas and the people telling them that they're small or they shouldn't do this or don't do that. And so, in a sense, they are closer to where we are trying to get back to, if that makes sense. We're trying to remove all of the things that we are not. And children just don't have to do that. You know what I mean?
Removing the filter, dude. That's it.
Because they are already the truth. They are already that, if that makes sense.
Yeah, there's no kind of filter for it to go through. They're taking it as it is in that sense, and it's like, man, it's there's really something we could learn from kids in that sense. And that's the thing, is that almost every single spiritual book out there will tell you to develop the mind, or at least bring it down to the mind of a child. And why would they say that? Why does almost every single book say that? It just makes you think. And that's essentially, we are, I don't know, maybe we're somewhat kind of like modern day philosophers, but I think that just the fact that we kind of envelop every single philosophy and every single form of spirituality and get a little eclectic at, I don't want to even say at times, pretty much every episode. That's really where the magic lies. And so instead of philosopher, we're going with the mystics, baby.
That's it, dude. That is the eclectic. The mystic is the one that sees the at least the truth that resonates the most. And I don't know, when it comes to the mystic, it does. It is all encompassing.
Yeah.
It doesn't limit what we are not.
I'm happy
right?
you said that, because there can be a mystic in any part of the world. I mean, there are Christian mystics, there's Jewish mystics, there's, Islamic mystics, there's Buddhist mystics, Hindu mystics, all these things. Everybody's, it's just, it's a form of spirituality that is looking at the world through a different lens. And I just love it, because who are we to believe that our original lens that we looked out at the world was correct? You know what I'm saying? Like,
and you know what's funny about that is that at the time it was.
It was.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's
Right?
the paradox
At least for us.
That's the paradox that Optimistic always talks about. So anyway, this all kind of really started The other night, I go to sleep and I shared the message with Sean. I just want to share a little bit of it right now as to what we're going to be talking about in this episode, that was then followed by a video of Wayne Dyer speaking, great philosopher. Shout
out to Nick for bringing that to our attention.
Shout out to Electro Nick. Dude, it was like an hour and 10 minutes long of just
gold.
Statement after statement after statement, affirmation after affirmation. And you're like, oh my God, there's no way I cannot understand this now.
Right.
You know?
Exactly. Dude.
And so
great.
Definitely shout out to Electro Nick for that one. But it did start with, I want to say 4 or 5 nights ago, I was laying in bed and it was, pretty late. We tend to shoot pretty late. And I was laying in bed and I was really, really, really tired. Like I was getting ready to knock out. And then I just got this message in my mind. Could have been just a deep thought or some kind of internal contemplation that was happening in that moment. But I felt that it was so vital that I write this down or that I, voice memo it, that I just had to roll over and get that phone and record it. So, and we're not going to play it. I'm just going to read it because whenever I was playing it, like I'm in deep, deep, deep meditative thought. I'm getting ready to fall asleep at this point. Right. So it's like the words are coming a mile a minute. It's just so damn slow,
You're in between worlds, man. I'm glad you did it though. I'm glad you had that forethought to at least, have it transcribed. Yeah, well, and that's that's really the magic behind it. We always talk about like past life regressions and hypnosis and just all the different the 4 or 5 some would say 5 stages of consciousness, and especially right before bed, you're in that theta state of mind. You're in the one of the deepest hypnosises that you can be in before you go to sleep. So you're more likely to be able to channel, or most likely to be able to tap into your higher self, or whatever you call that. And I was just there. So I'm going to read it out. I prefer the genius,
I think it is on some real shit. I think that's really where we're going here. Call it the genius, call it the demon, whatever, right?
Whatever you want. Yeah.
Same thing. So this is what I said. And at the time I'm thinking, oh my God, did I just like spit bars and save the world with this right now or what?
Right.
But I said, dude, I almost like get super excited even reading it. I said, we are the spirit guides to our humans. When our human has to go through something bad, we're the ones that are there for them. It's our duty as the spirit guide to pick up the human. It's our duty to have empathy for them, but also be that shining light. Whenever our human dies, we would be a little upset about it because he was our human and we were his guide. And while the human dies, we go on. We are unseen. We are unseen in this world. We are only realized as the human, with the human as the lower form of us. So it almost got a little Neoplatonic right there, right? Almost as if the one or the source or whatever, that big shining light, it's not out there. It's internal, and that baby is shining outward, right?
Yes.
And I said, we're not separate from the human. The human's not separate from us. We are interconnected for the time being. This is hard to read because I'm sure I was stumbling over my words, and it's written down, a transcript in that way. What we are, I'm not even going to read the rest of it because it didn't really make sense towards the end right there. But yeah, just basically I had the crazy epiphany that we are the spirit guides to our human in that sense. And maybe it's been talked about before. I've never heard it put that way though.
I don't disagree with that, man. And this is kind of obvious when you go into meditation. We've talked about this before. You go into meditation and all of a sudden you are just the observer. It's almost like this switch happens where everything externally just goes away, and of course you kind of agree to that because you're doing a meditation. So it's almost like you are already agreeing to that kind of situation. But when you get there, it's very obvious that you are that observer. And I think that observer is the guide you're talking about.
I think so. Actually, like I know so.
I mean, we talk about Daryl Anka, going and channeling and this and that, and you can say he's channeling an alien. Maybe. I don't know. I don't know.
He even admitted that he wasn't actually channeling an alien.
Oh, did he admit that? Okay,
Yeah.
well then we know that he's not actually. And so he's merely accessing his genius. And really, I mean, that's how he can go for hours, because he's not holding on, or he's not it's almost like he's not what's the word? Like attached so much to whatever it is that comes out, because
Yeah.
it's just kind of flowing out because this is what it is.
That's
you
just
know?
that's
And
just
so
it. Yeah.
I think that that's the level of consciousness, the state of consciousness that you can access. And that's actually kind of weird when you think about that, a state of consciousness, right? And so when we are just awake, right? That's what is that? Is that delta, or which one is it when we're just aware?
When we're like the most aware would be beta. A light
Beta.
trance is alpha.
Okay, so when you're in beta, that is a state of consciousness. And so everything that happens within that state of consciousness we call reality, right? And so why is it different when we go into a different state of consciousness? When we go into a theta, when we go into those deeper states of, call it, maybe you're having a dream, you know what I mean? In that state of consciousness, that still is your reality at that point. I just don't understand why we make that distinction from when we are awake and alert to, in the dream realm, and why we just completely separate those things and just call the dream world and all of that just something else.
Right. You're just tripping.
Right.
Yeah.
It's a reality within that state of consciousness.
That's all it is, dude. That's the
Yes.
crazy thing. Dude, I was actually listening to a debate earlier between Sadhguru and Harvard's cognitive scientist professor. His name is Steven Pinker. And I was listening to the debate between the two of them, trying to...
What were they debating on?
Consciousness.
Okay.
And now, so you got a Harvard scientist saying, look, the hard problem of consciousness is that you can't prove it or disprove it, right? And he's like, we have all these different things going on in our brain. We know exactly where consciousness is. We know that it's in the brain and that it can't be anywhere else, right? And Sadhguru is like, I get that science is doing really good work. I really do. But you guys thought you had it figured out about 500 years ago, and every single year it changes. And so it would be almost delusional. I'm putting kind of words in his mouth, but he goes, basically, it would be almost delusional to think that you have it figured out now. And then he goes on to say that, like, what you don't understand what consciousness actually is that whenever you get into a deep enough meditative state, you will find that there is some kind of divine intelligence that is there to meet you. And if you can't get into that meditative state, you're not going to know it's there. And, and to just bring it all the way back, how about we pull up Carl Jung? Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. That is what he's referring to right there. He's talking about that there is some kind of subtle, extremely, the most subtle, like intelligence, call it consciousness, call it God, call it the universe, whatever. There is something so extremely subtle that is so very alive within you that if you don't, buy into meditation and you never get yourself into a meditative state, you're going to miss the forest for the trees.
Yeah, I mean, how can you meet up with whatever that is if you're not still enough, if you're not quiet enough, if you're not listening,
That's it. Yeah, so that was a great conversation. And I gotta say, that scientist was a douche. Like, he was so belittling and demeaning to everything that Sadhguru thought. I was like, and Sadhguru's just over there sitting like a thug, just like, look, nothing that you say can affect me. You
can't control my emotions. I do that.
I'm already in a bliss state.
Right. Look at me. I'm high right now.
I'm high. Look at me. Look at me. So yeah, shout out to Sadhguru for that one. And that was from like 2 years ago or something like that. But
I mean, you got to be fair, for the scientist, all that he has is the tangible evidence.
That's
and
it.
So when it comes to things that can't be seen, such as the subconscious, I mean, we can agree there's a subconscious mind. right? I feel like that shouldn't be too far of a leap for the scientists to recognize.
Yeah.
And
They just
so, you
they
know,
look at it as almost like lower levels of the mind that your brain is operating in the background. That's it.
okay. So no
Um,
no real use then. We just
not.
kind of didn't evolve to not need that anymore.
Yeah. I mean,
Oh, I see.
don't need
Okay.
that. Yeah.
Okay, that's my
Um,
bad.
so that's on you.
That's on me. I'll take that one.
So yeah, that was actually a really good interview. I really like that one. So I want to start this episode by saying a riddle, a cosmic riddle, if you will, sir.
All right, riddle me this.
And I'm not going to give the answer until the end of the episode, if it's not already evident.
Okay. All right.
Okay. What walks with you, yet leaves no shadow? What dines at your table, yet eats no bread? What breathes your breath, sighs your sighs, and keeps the count of every heartbeat? It watches your laughter and weeps with your grief. It trembles in passion and sinks in your sleep. It listens when no one else is near and hears the words you never speak out loud.
All right.
Just ponder that.
Let's not spoil it. All right. We'll wait till the end, but I think I got a good idea.
Yeah, buddy. All right. So nextly, we're going to get into a couple of. This episode is actually going to be kind of some of the messages of Wayne Dyer.
right.
And not all of them are going to be from Wayne Dyer. Some of them are kind of interwoven. And we're going to be pulling from all the different synonyms to try and build a realm of thought so that we can really try and hammer it home.
Love it.
Okay. But it was inspired, at least this portion of the show was inspired by Wayne Dyer, or Dyer rather. He actually died in 2015. He was a modern day philosopher. And he was actually a very interesting individual. He wrote a couple of books. He was born in 1940, so he was a bit of an older gentleman, but he was hanging out with Deepak Chopra, which we read a book on. He was inspired by this dude named Swami Muktananda, and the New Thought. And his early work focused on psychological themes such as motivation, self-actualization, and assertiveness. He collaborated with Deepak on alternative medicine as well. He was always on the Oprah Winfrey Show as well. But yeah, I think he wrote 40 books. Is that what it was? Some crazy number of books.
Wow.
Yeah. And, he wrote like some crazy number of books, and I think 20 of them made New York Times bestsellers, which is quite an accomplishment.
Oh yeah.
So this was his life. And so just want to give a little shout out to him. We got a couple of quotes by him. He goes, "The state of your life is nothing more than a reflection of the state of your mind."
I mean, that's perfect. So, and it's interesting because I feel like within the last, I don't know, 6 months, that has just been becoming so much more true and obvious. At least to me, I can't speak for you, but I feel like you're vibing on the same understanding.
100%. Yes.
Yeah.
Another one is, you will see it when you believe it, not the other way around.
Yep.
Some people are like, I got to believe it in order for me to see it. I'm like, I think that it's actually supposed to be the opposite way.
Well, you said you will see it you will see it, then you will believe it. Is that what you said?
You will see it when you believe it.
Okay, so when you believe it, you will see it.
Yeah.
Okay.
You got to believe it first.
Right, of course.
Another one is, when you argue for your limitations, all you get are your limitations.
Yep. Perfect.
Another one is, yeah, dude, he's on one. Another one is, I cannot always control what goes on outside, but I can always control what goes on inside.
Yes, dude. Yes.
He's on it, dude. Another one goes, you're the creator of your thoughts, which means that in some metaphysical way, you're the creator of your life.
Yeah, dude.
Banger. And the final one that we'll read by him, you cannot be lonely if you like the person you are alone with.
You speak on that quite a bit.
I do. I do.
You never feel alone, man.
Very rarely. I mean,
That's why it's so important, to work on that shadow, dude. I feel like that has been just the theme for me lately, trying to understand what that is and at least shed some light on it, or at least say, okay, that's there, and then work with it.
exactly. Yeah, shadow work is of utter importance.
Yeah.
So before we get into some more quotes here, this is going to be a hammering home so that by the end of this episode, you will leave without a shadow of a doubt, knowing that you are far more important than you ever thought in your entire life. And it's not just like trying to amp you up. It's not just trying to make you feel good, not just trying to give you affirmation so that you can sleep better at night. No, we're talking about on a daily, not even a daily, a moment to moment basis. If you can remember, these things, your life will significantly change as if you are walking in Wonderland. And that is not an understatement.
Eventually, the reflection needs to reflect that. Your inner world will definitely eventually start reflecting that and showing you, oh, this is the life you want. This is what you're choosing to see.
Exactly. So I'll start with this. Beyond Wayne Dyer was just a man with a message. So I don't want, and this is something that we've been trying to hammer home. It does not matter who said it. What was the message and did it resonate? That's all.
That's it.
So Wayne Dyer was just a man with a message, a message that he found inside. He didn't read it in any books. He didn't receive it from a church, a mosque, a temple, a priest, a bishop, a pastor, a teacher, a Bible, a Torah, a Quran, a grimoire, any mythological tale, or anything of the kind. He realized it inside. When the mind stops its chatter, when the past stops being present, when the future hasn't happened yet, he realized it in the now, the subtle now, the eternal now that is right in front of your face, yet eludes you like a kid when you tell them it's bedtime. Except it's not really the one who's elusive. It's the lens of which you view the world. The worry, the anxiety, the bills, the kids, the spouse, the taxes, the football game, the person cutting you off in traffic, the in-laws, the dirty house, the weight that you're self-conscious about. It's the very veil that you put up, the shroud that you have to squint to maybe kind of sort of see through on mystical nights. But what's on that other side of that veil isn't hiding from you. You, unknowingly or subconsciously, put that veil there in the first place. And if you're the one that put it up there, don't you think it's about time we take it down? But here's the trick. Here's the trick. Nobody can do it for you. Your parents can't help you. Your teacher, your shaman, guru, priest, or friendly neighborhood mystic can't do it for you. Only you. So today we're going to blue shift our mystical asses and get into who you are, who you really are. Not your job title, not what you like, not if you're a mother or a father, a husband or a wife, forever single or in a relationship, the real you. The one, and once you hear this, you won't be able to go back. So are you ready, Sean?
Dude, I've been ready.
Let's get weird. We're going to get all the way weird.
I've been searching, And now we know that the search happens within, which is something that we've been saying for a minute, dude. But it's true.
So I want to get into some of the messages of the video that Sean and I were talking about. And these are not ours. It's just from the video that Sean and I received from Electro Nick. But I wanted to bring some of them up so that you can kind of get a decent understanding as to why did we go from mystery to mystic. Okay.
Oh, dude, I'm ready. Oh, and real quick, if we can, maybe we can share that link just so everybody can give that a listen, because I feel like it's that powerful.
Yes,
honestly.
it is. Yeah, really good. And we're actually going to read a lot of it right now.
All right.
There is a sacred illusion that has governed the human mind for thousands of years. An illusion that God is somewhere else out there, above the clouds, hidden in holy books, locked behind rituals, or found only in the presence of saints and prophets. We were taught to look up, to kneel down, to chase something grand and far away. But what if the greatest secret of all, the secret whispered in every ancient text, the truth behind every miracle is that God has never been outside of you, not for a single breath, not for a single heartbeat. God is not above you. God is not around you. God is not hiding in a temple or buried in the sand. God is not an entity floating in the heavens, counting your sins or judging your failures. God is not a being. God is a presence, a vibration, a frequency, an energy, and that energy lives inside of you. It pulses in your chest, not just as a heartbeat, but as a rhythm of cosmic intelligence. It rises with the sun through your thoughts. It flows through it flows with your breath as inspiration. It sings in your silence and whispers in your intuition. It is the light behind your eyes, the warmth behind your love, the stillness behind your peace. You don't have to go anywhere to find it. You only have to remember. You have never been separate. You've only believed that you were. You were born into a world that confused form with truth. You were told that we were bodies. We were told we were names, histories, roles, genders, religions, nationalities. We were given identities to wear like masks in a theater. But behind every mask is the same light, the same essence, the same eternal current of being that has no label, no boundary, and no limitation. You're not a body with a soul. You're a soul having a brief, sacred passing experience in a body. And that soul, your soul, is not disconnected from God. It is God. Not the entirety, but the expression, the drop that contains the whole ocean, the flame that reveals the nature of fire. You are the divine, individualized. And if that is true, and it is, then everything about your life begins to change, because no longer do you search for peace outside yourself. You no longer chase love from others like a beggar. You no longer strive to be good enough, holy enough, worthy enough. You realize that you already are. Because how can that which is divine be unworthy? Your worth is not negotiable. It is not determined by your past. It is not reduced by your mistakes. You're not here to earn divinity. You're here to express it, to remember it, to embody it. When Jesus said the kingdom of heaven is within you, he wasn't being poetic. He was describing a metaphysical reality that the infinite lives in the finite, that the source is not out of reach, that the door to heaven swings open inward. The great mystics of every age have known this. Rumi said, "I have searched for God and found only myself. I searched for myself and found only God." Lao Tzu said, "Knowing others is wisdom. Knowing yourself is enlightenment." The Upanishads tell us that you are that. The Bhagavad Gita echoes that the self is the friend of the self. Even science, if you look closely, is beginning to whisper this truth, that consciousness is not an accident, but the ground of all being. And so the invitation of your life is not to find God. It is to remove everything that blocks your awareness of God within you. The ego is the veil, the past is the noise, the story is the distraction, but the truth has always been there, still, silent, waiting, like the sun behind the clouds. It doesn't argue, it doesn't force, it doesn't punish. It simply awaits for your willingness to remember who you really are. Who are you? You're not your name, you're not your job, you're not your resume, you're not your trauma, you're not your bank account, you're not your followers, your likes, your clothes, your failures, or your successes. You're not the story others wrote for you. You're not the story you wrote to survive. You are the awareness behind the story, the still presence watching the movie of your life unfold. You're not the storm. You are the sky that holds it. You're not the pain. You're the presence it passes through. You're not the fear. You are the faith it tries to hide. You're not the ego. You're not the wound. You're not the past. You are the divine energy expressing itself through this temporary costume of form. And once you remember this, not just intellectually, but spiritually, cellularly, everything shifts. You stop looking for validation. You stop playing roles. You stop performing for love. You stop carrying guilt like a cross on your back. You stop needing to be fixed because you realize you are never broken. Your healing does not begin when the world changes. It begins when your perception changes. When you stop seeing yourself as separate from the source of life, and begin to live as if you are one with it, because you are. There is no place you can go where God is not. Not because God is everywhere, but because everywhere is in God. because existence itself is God in motion, love in form, spirit in rhythm. And your soul is a thread in that vast, endless tapestry of being. And this means that your life is not random. Your pain is not pointless. Your existence is not small. It means that the breath you are taking right now is holy. The moment you are in right now is sacred. The body you inhabit is a temple of energy, vibrating with ancient intelligence. You don't need to wait to die to return to God. You only need to awaken to the fact that you never left. Heaven is not a location. Heaven is a level of awareness. And hell is not a punishment. Hell is the illusion of separation. It is living as if hell, when we're talking about, hell is living as if you are alone, as if you are unloved, as if you are lost. But you are none of those things. You are found. You are held. You are guided. You are loved beyond comprehension, not because of what you do, but because of what you are. You are light wrapped in skin. You are infinity in motion. You are God dreaming of being human for a little while. And when you awaken to this truth, forgiveness becomes easy because you recognize that the one you're forgiving is also the divine in disguise. Ooh. Compassion becomes natural because every person you meet is you in another form. Love becomes unconditional because it's no longer a transaction, it's a transmission. And peace becomes your default because nothing can disturb the stillness of the soul that knows it is one with the all. So the next time you look in a mirror, don't just see a face, see the infinite gazing back at itself. The next time you feel alone, place your hand on your heart and feel the presence that is never left. The next time you pray, don't send your words into the sky. Listen for the answer rising from within. You're not trying to become divine. You are remembering that you already are. And this remembrance, this return, is the beginning of true freedom. You don't need to fight for what already belongs to you. You don't need to beg for what you already are. And you don't need to wait for someone else to awaken. First, you are the awakening. You are the permission slip. You are the spark that lights the fire of remembrance in others just by being who you truly are. When you walk into a room fully grounded in your divine essence, you don't need to say a word. Your presence becomes the sermon. Your peace becomes the teaching. Your authenticity becomes the miracle. Because when you remember that God is not outside of you, you stop chasing and start radiating. You stop searching and start serving. You stop trying to become and you begin to be. You begin to live like the lotus, rooted in the mud, but blooming in the light. You begin to live like the sun, not asking the world for permission to shine. You begin to live like the ocean, deep, powerful, and undisturbed by the surface waves. This is not about religion. This is about revelation. This is not about dogma. This is about direct experience. You don't need a middleman to access the divine. You only need stillness. You only need silence. You only need the courage to sit with yourself until the noise fades and the truth rises. And what is that truth? That you're not alone. You never were. That everything you've been searching for, love, peace, worth, wholeness, is already within you. That God is not a being in the sky. God is the being within all beings. The eternal I am that speaks through your breath, moves through your hands, sees through your eyes. When you hold a newborn child and you feel your heart crack open with wonder, that's God. When you stand in nature and feel awe wash over you like a baptism, that's God. When you forgive someone who never said sorry and feel the change breaking in your chest, that's God. When you sit in silence of your own soul and feel the warmth of presence, that is God. God is not something you understand. God is something you remember. And every moment of your life has been guiding you back to that remembrance, even the painful ones, especially the painful ones, because pain is often the chisel that cracks the shell of illusion. Suffering is the wake-up call. Rock bottom is often the beginning of real clarity. We don't wake up because life is perfect. We wake up because we realize perfection was never the goal. Presence is, peace is, truth is, and truth is this. You are not separate. You were never cast out. You were never abandoned. You only forgot who you are, and now you're remembering. The spiritual path is not a journey to someplace new. It is the return to where you've always been, beneath the noise, beneath the story, beneath the roles. It is the peeling back of the layers of identity until only presence remains, until only love remains, until only God remains. And when you touch that space, when you live from that space, you become a vessel, a living temple, not a preacher of truth, but a presence of truth. And the world does not need more preachers. It needs more presence. It needs more people who have remembered who they are and live accordingly with gentleness, with power, with purpose, and with peace. You are not put here to suffer through life hoping for a reward in the afterlife. You are not sent here to prove your worth or earn your salvation. You were born to express divinity in form, to create, to heal, to love, to serve, to awaken. You are the eyes through which the universe sees itself. You are the hands through which love touches the world. You are the voice through which truth sings. And the more you align with that awareness, the more your life begins to reflect it. Not because you manipulate circumstances, but because you change your vibrational point of origin. You stop operating from fear and start operating from faith. You stop reacting from ego and start responding from essence. You stop surviving and begin thriving. This is the alchemy of awakening. When you stop seeking God as something external and begin realizing that every breath is a prayer, every moment is sacred, and every being is divine, your life becomes a living meditation. You find the sacred in the ordinary. You hear the infinite in the silence. You see the face of God in the mirror, not out of arrogance, but out of awe. And this is what the world needs right now. Not more beliefs, not more beings, not more ideas, but more embodiment. Not more preaching, but more presence. A planet full of awakened souls who no longer search for light outside, but choose to become the light inside. Because when you light up from within, you give others permission to remember their own flame. When you walk as divinity embodied, you heal without speaking. When you love from your center, you transform the atmosphere around you. And that love, that God energy has no limits. It is not reserved for saints and sages. It is the birthright of every soul. It is the essence of every child, of every stranger, every enemy. There is no one who is not divine. There is only one consciousness that has forgotten itself. And when you meet someone who has forgotten, your role is not to judge. Your role is to remind them by your presence, to remind by your compassion, to remind by your peace. Because the moment you see God in another, you activate the God in them. The moment you forgive, you invite another into their own freedom. The moment you speak truth without fear, you become a lighthouse in the fog. And the fog is thick right now. The world is noisy. The world is afraid. The world has built a shrine to the ego and forgotten the altar of the soul. But even in the darkness, the light within has not dimmed. It only waits for your awareness to return. So come home. Come home to yourself. Come home to the truth that has always been waiting beneath your breath. You are not missing. You are not flawed. You're not behind. You're not unworthy. You are divine. You are radiant. You are the energy of God dancing in human form. You don't need to chase enlightenment. You need to embody what you already are. So breathe, not just to survive, but to remember. Breathe in your wholeness. Breathe in your innocence. Breathe in your connection to all that is. And when the world tries to distract you, return to this breath. Return to this moment. Return to the energy that beats your heart and births the stars, because that energy is you. You are the temple and the flame. You are the question and the answer. You are the seeker and the source. And when you live from this knowing, life becomes a sacred flow. Challenges become opportunities to deepen your truth. Loss becomes a portal into love. Conflict becomes a classroom for compassion. Every experience becomes a step in your return to the truth. The truth that God is not outside of you. God is not in the sky waiting for you to be perfect. God is not a judge watching you through a lens of sin. God is the breath inside your breath, the stillness behind your thoughts, the love that you feel when all the noise fades. You're not separate. You never were. You just forgot. And now you're remembering. And in that remembering, you are reborn. There comes a moment in every soul's journey when the search loses its meaning, not because the search failed, but because the search was always a mirror leading inward. The maps you followed, the teachings you clung to, the gurus you revered, the rituals you performed, all of them were stepping stones. Sacred, yes, but not destinations. They were never meant to lead you to something outside of you, but to bring you back to the holy stillness within, the silent sanctuary where nothing is missing and no part of you is exiled. This moment, this breath is your arrival, not in time, but in truth. When you release the idea that you must become something more to be worthy of the divine, you enter the dimension of being. And being is not passive. Being is not empty. Being is a cosmic radiance. It is a living alignment. It is the holy reverence that comes when you stand in your center without effort, without masks, without needing to prove your light to a world that's forgotten its own. You don't become divine by reaching upward. You become divine by sinking inward. And as you do, you realize that stillness is not the absence of noise. It is the presence of God. It is the space from which all miracles arise, the field from the field where form and formless meet. In that space, you remember that you are not here to master life like a test. You are here to merge with it like a dance, to move in rhythm with the intelligence that breathes stars into existence and still takes time to open a flower. There is no arrogance in knowing. In this knowing, only awe, only humility, only the peace that comes when you stop trying to contain the infinite within your mind and instead allow your heart to become its home. For the ego seeks to grasp, the soul seeks to surrender. The ego builds identity out of pain, out of story, out of past. The soul simply is unburdened, eternal, whole. And every time you choose presence over performance, truth over illusion, love over defense, you dissolve another layer of separation and step more fully into the light that has always been waiting. You don't need to heal yourself into worthiness. You only need to remember that the light you long for is not something to earn, it is something to uncover. And as you uncover it, something begins to shift, not just within you, but around you. The world starts responding differently. Not because the outer world changed, but because your inner signal did. Like a radio that finally tunes to the frequency, you begin to hear a different song, a quieter song, a truer one. You begin to recognize guidance in what once felt random. You begin to feel supported in ways that defy logic. You begin to trust life, not because it always makes sense, but because you no longer need it to. You begin to understand that the energy that created this universe, the energy that shaped galaxies, composed the laws of nature, painted the skies with sunsets, and orchestrated the tides, is not distant from you. It flows through you. It animates you. It breathes you. And when you live from this awareness, your actions become expressions of love instead of fear. Your relationships become altars of growth instead of battlegrounds of control. Your words become vessels of truth instead of weapons of validation. This is what it means to live as the soul and not as the mask. This is what it means to walk the earth as divinity incarnate. You no longer see others as threats or strangers, but as reflections, sacred echoes, each one offering you the chance to practice remembrance. And the more you remember, the more you soften. The more you soften, the more you heal. And the more you heal, the more others heal just by being in your field. This is the quiet revolution of awakened presence. It changes the world not through force, but through frequency. And this frequency is not loud. It's not desperate. It's not defensive. It's gentle, like the light that enters a room without knocking, like the wind that moves the trees without needing to be seen, like love that simply loves without agenda, without demand, without needing to be returned. This is how the divine works, not as a ruler, but as a presence, not as a command, but as a current. And the more you surrender to this current, the more your life becomes a river instead of a struggle. Not without pain, not without challenge, but with an unshakable foundation of peace that whispers, even in the storm, you are not alone. The storm does not mean you are forsaken. The wound does not mean you are broken. The doubt does not mean you have failed. It means you are growing. It means the veil is thinning. It means you are being called to remember again, not in concept, but in embodiment, not just to know that God is within, but to live as though it were unmistakably true, to live as though the breath you take is divine intelligence entering your body, to live as though every act of kindness is a prayer in motion, to live as though your very presence is a sanctuary where others remember their light. This is not spiritual idealism. This is radical realism, to see beyond the illusion of fear and touch the deeper truth of love that holds it all. But because what is God if not love itself? Not the fragile love that says only if you earn it, not the conditional love that keeps score, not the fleeting love that changes with behavior, but the eternal, boundless, all-pervading love that simply is. The love that has no opposite, the love that includes every shadow, the love that redeems without punishment, the love that burns away the illusion of separation with a single glance, and you are here to be the mirror of that love, not in perfection, but in presence, not by trying to become it, but by removing everything that blocks it. Every time you let go of judgment, you make room for that love. Every time you forgive yourself, you open the window to that love. Every time you choose compassion over condemnation, you become a vessel for that love, not just for others, but for yourself, because you too are worthy of the grace you give so easily to others. You too are worthy of returning home to yourself, not someday, not when you're better, but now. Now, when you are still tangled in your questions, now when you are still healing your wounds, now when the light inside is a flicker instead of a flame. That flicker is enough. That breath is enough. That moment of truth is enough to begin again. And the beginning again is the most spiritual act there is, because every moment offers the possibility of awakening. Every moment is holy ground when you walk it with awareness. And every time you choose to remember, even for a second, that God is not outside of you, the veil thins a little more, until one day you stop looking for the divine and you simply become it. There is a sacred humility that descends upon the soul when it no longer needs to shine, not because it doubts its light, but because it has become the light. This is not a performance. This is not the ego's idea of enlightenment. This is the quiet authority of one who has stopped seeking approval and started walking in alignment. A person who no longer needs the world to recognize their divinity because they have already recognized it within. This is the true birth of power, not control, not domination, not force, but alignment. Power that flows without resistance, power that heals without effort, power that liberates without preaching. You don't need to argue with darkness. You need only to turn on the light. And the light within you does not flicker with the opinions of others. It does not waver in the face of rejection. It does not vanish when things fall apart, because it is not built on circumstance. It is built on truth, eternal truth, the kind that existed before your story began and will remain long after your story ends. It is, and this is what ego can never understand, that it is not your job to become something more, but to be all, not to gather more things, more achievements, more spiritual credentials, but to surrender, to shed, to simplify, to become so empty of illusion that only truth remains. The ego resists this. It clings, it calculates, it compares, it builds altars to its own identity. But no altar built by the ego can contain the presence of the divine. And it just goes on, bro. Like I could literally read this for hours, dude. And I was just so mesmerized by every single sentence that was said and just listening to it for like an hour and a half or however long it is. So good.
Oh, dude, there's so much there that I am going to live my truth through that lens. You know, as far as, you know, because recently I actually just was talking to ChatGPT and I was like, you know, if you were a human being, what would be the best route in order for like, you know, for harmony, you know? And basically it was like empathy, and there was one other one, you know. But if you are looking at everybody as a sacred divine being, you know what I mean, such and yourself as included in that, you know, it's like how do you not just understand it as far as like this person is also me? Like whenever Optimistic Banks was saying like that person is also you, and like we're all God, and like all of this, like all of this stuff that if someone was to hear that for the first time, they probably thought it was the most blasphemous thing ever, you know? But if we were to just understand that everybody around us is also divine and nobody can ever be less than that, it's just impossible, then you know what I'm saying? Like, namaste.
Namaste, brother.
Right? Right, dude. So, yeah, man, I don't know. I think that's great. I feel like it's empowering. It gives you the power rather than shifting the blame to some unseen thing outside of you. It's like we are all part of this presence, you know?
100%. Yes. And this is why I wanted to mention the kind of epiphany, revelation, whatever that I had the other night,
Mhm.
that if we are the quote unquote spirit guides to our human, then we
Mhm.
must know what our spirit guides, the true us, actually is. Right?
Yep.
Like we can't just hear one without the other. Like you need to
Mhm.
know exactly how to position it and exactly what lens to look through, exactly like who your human, aka me, Jonathan, you, Sean, right?
Yep.
Who that avatar needs to abide by and listen
Mhm.
to and be there for, right?
Right.
Like who,
Right.
like we need something to fall back upon. And
Mhm.
if you ever notice, a lot of people who are rebels, they're not rebelling against their parents. They're not rebelling against the school system. They're not rebelling against politics. And maybe some of it started there. But I think that they're actually internally rebelling against themselves, rebelling against that spiritual guide that is always within you.
Mhm. Oh,
I
yeah,
think that's really what's going on.
that makes perfect sense, dude. That makes perfect sense. Because
So
ultimately, dude, we are the, if I may, the creator of everything that we experience. You know, we put ourselves through some shit for no reason, some shit that doesn't need to be. It's unnecessary. You know what I mean? But we decide to do it anyways. You know, and when you understand that you have the power to just change that mindset, you know, it's just so empowering. There was something else I was going to say, and as you were speaking, I forgot. But maybe I'll remember.
all right, well, I'm gonna pull it back. Come
All
on
right,
back, or
get it,
actually,
get
I should
it.
be going towards you. I wanna read the rest of this just a little bit, and
All right.
and we'll be able to jump into where I wanted to be able to take it. So
Okay.
you no longer stand at the edge of the ocean asking it to show itself. You simply step in. You merge. You dissolve the illusion of separation and become one with the current. This is what it means to return to God, not to a skybound deity, but to the source that has always been flowing in your breath, rising in your intuition, beating in the very center of your chest. And in this return, you discover what cannot be taught, that love is not something you give, receive, or find. Love is what you are. You were not sent here to search for it. You were sent here to embody it. And when you embody love, not the fragile imitation born of fear and control, but the love that includes every part of you, even the broken places, you become a miracle in motion. You become the kind of presence that doesn't need to speak in order to teach. You simply are. And your being reminds others of what they've always been. So when you remember that you are not only the human, but the spirit within the human, something clicks. You step out of unconscious identification and into guardianship. You are no longer simply the Jonathan or Sean or the one that is reacting to life. You are the watcher, the breath behind the breath, the one who chose to inhabit this form. All right. So,
Dude, real quick, I did remember what I was going to say as far as it was talking about the sacred, like everything is sacred. You know, we always say like, oh, whenever we have a synchronicity, it's like, oh, it's like something super spiritual to us and it's awesome. You know, I always will enjoy a really cool synchronicity.
oh, yeah.
But when we're talking about, you know, everything, it's like taking it just another step up, man. Everything is sacred, you know? And if you experience something and it doesn't bother you or trigger you or nothing like that, then it wasn't something that inside of you that needed attention, right? And so, but when you're consistently present, dude, that instead of just the synchronicity alone, it's everything all the time.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Every single moment that passes by is not necessarily the glaring synchronicity that you needed to remind yourself that remind yourself to bring you back to the breath of your higher self or of your highest self, your highest spirit guide to your avatar or to your meat suit. Like, and that's what I think synchronicities actually are. I think you're actually right on it, dude. That synchronicities are almost, and everybody looks at them in different ways, depending on what numbers and at what times and whatever's going on in your life, whatever, right? But what if we were to look at synchronicities, the 111s, the 555s, the 444s, all these things? What if we were to look at them as just subtle reminders from our spirit guide to come back to the breath that is the spirit guide, to the stillness, to the one that reminds you that you're not just a human in a meat suit, you are something beyond that, and you're just the awareness that is within this human.
Absolutely, dude. Absolutely. At the very least, dude, that is just a glimpse of how abundantly, what's the word I'm looking for? Just the potential is so abundant, you know, and it's all up to you. Like, that's the good news.
It's really all up to you. And the bad news is that it's also all up to you.
Yeah,
you know?
Exactly. Yep.
Because that can be a
it's a hard pill to swallow, man.
A big old bite to chew. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Oh, I am in control of all this. My life sucks because of me. No, it's because of my situation. You know, my brother stole from me.
Everything
my mom
outside
is
of
this,
me.
and my job fired me. You know, my girlfriend or my boyfriend dumped me. It's their fault. It's not mine that I'm in this situation.
Or you could say your boyfriend or girlfriend dumped you because there's someone better, or that job fired you or got rid of you because there's a better job. You know what I mean? You can always transmute everything.
Every single thing, and it's up to you. It's up to you how you react to literally everything. Now you might say, well, I just got my foot run over by a car. Am I out of line to scream and wither in pain and fury? No, you're not out of line to say that. Nobody's judging you. This is not in the realm of judgment of where we're trying to take this. As a matter of fact,
complete opposite of that.
Judgment is the probably one of the lowest vibrational forms that there is.
Absolutely.
Like every single time, and this is, let me just take it here for a second, because I've been putting a lot of thought into this. And only because I have a lot of dark humor, bro. Like, I take it to the darkest places, you know that, right? But it's out of love and out of good humor and everything. But even in those moments where I'm like, you know, kind of judging in a kind of funny way, dude, I go internal with that and I almost embrace the energy that is that. And I stopped doing that so much lately.
Yeah, dude, because you realize that everything is divine, you know, and if something bothers me about whatever this person's doing, or maybe this person's lifestyle, which I think is ridiculous anyways, you know what I mean? If somebody wants to live a certain way, like, why does that bother you? Like, what is it inside you that's making you feel that much darkness or hatred towards somebody? You know what I mean? Because there's a lot of people that doesn't bother, you know? And so, like, what is it in you that needs to be healed, I think?
Yeah,
right?
I think so. And I think that, you know, just this whole idea of just being nicer is
hard these days, I guess.
What a crazy thing, dude, to just be nice and not judgmental and to help your neighbor and your friends and even the people that have wronged you. If they call and ask for your help, dude, fucking do it. You know, like you are justified. Of course, you are always going to be justified and feel justified and judged by the opinions of everybody else to say that you are absolutely justified whenever your enemy asks for a lending hand and you tell them no. You're always going to be justified by that. You're not seeking justification from others. This is nothing to do with the outside world. Every single thing to do with the outside world is, look at it like it's a contract. Okay. Every single thing is like, are you going to react this way? Or are you going to react that way? There's only really like minimal ways of how you can react, right? And usually the one that is easiest is the one that's the worst for you. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's easy to, if somebody cuts you off in traffic, F that
Mhm.
piece of F, you know, whatever,
Yep.
right?
Mhm.
It's
It's
so
instant
easy.
gratification almost in a weird, strange way.
And everybody
You
in the
know?
back seats laughing, your kids are hooting and hollering. I can't believe you
Uh,
just gave him the business, you know, whatever,
right.
right? And it
Mhm.
feels good. You're like, I just made somebody laugh, you know.
I was right, you know,
I was
'cause
right in
I
that
need the
moment.
outside world to know that, you know?
Exactly. But what
Right.
you just embodied on the inside was not of love, was
No.
not of the divine, was not of
Mhm.
the goodness. What you
Mhm.
literally, even if you just said it as a joke, look at
Mhm.
every single word that comes out of your mouth, every single word, okay? Every single
Mhm.
word is a bit of energy. And it doesn't
Mhm.
even necessarily matter what the intention behind that energy was. It is all about the energy in the first place. That's literally where
Mhm.
you got to take it to. You almost
Right.
got to go extreme with it because if
Oh,
you
dude.
slip up even once,
Mhm.
it has the potential to just have that snowball effect and you just jump back into that. Let me give you an example. So
Mhm.
I was hanging out. I had the kids. I had all the kids this weekend. I had my daughter, my son, my niece, my dog, of course. We went down to the beach in Galveston, right?
Right.
And so I don't know if you. There's this show called Wednesday with the Addams Family. Have you seen that?
Yep. No, I haven't seen it.
My niece and my daughter are obsessed with it. They're young teens. They love that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And to be honest, I think Wednesday's actually a pretty damn good show because we grew up with the Addams Family, you know.
Mhm. Yep.
But every single thing that comes out of that girl's mouth is so so negative. Every
Mhm.
single thing. You're
Yeah,
like,
that's
she-
kind of their vibe. Yeah.
that's her vibe. She's dark.
Mhm.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? She's edgy in that way.
Mhm.
And so the kids started taking on that mentality.
Mhm.
And every single sentence that came out of their mouth was so negative. And I
Mhm.
was like, can you guys just start being nice to each other? Like it's
Mhm.
not even just from I'm the parent and no, it's not even like that. It's just almost like a soul to soul kind of,
Yeah.
situation that I was trying to have with these kids. I mean,
Mhm.
I'm trying to, and it's hard to explain this kind of stuff to kids, whatever, but I did my best. And I said, look, you need to stop with all that negativity because that negativity is going to build up. And then that's how you're going to see the rest of the world all the time. Even if you're
Mhm.
saying it as a joke, even if
Yeah.
you're saying it just as a buddy, a he and haw, right?
Yeah.
Even if you're
Uh-huh.
just saying it as that, I'm telling you, it will manifest inside of you, and the lens through which you view the world will always be looked at in that sense. Every negative person out there started with joking about it,
Mhm.
I think.
Dude, that's some solid gold that you dropped on them, you know? But I do the same thing, you know? I try to say something that I feel like is exactly like that, you know, like your outer world reflecting from your inner world. That is, if somebody would have told me that when I was younger, I probably would have done the same thing. I probably would have been like, "Okay, what are you talking about?" You know? But you get to a certain point and you're like, I think I'm starting to understand this shit, like how this reality is actually working, and I just never knew it, you know. But it's funny how you say just be nice, you know, because when my daughter, I think she was, oh, I don't know, she had been talking maybe for a year or two, you know, she was fairly young still, and her siblings would be doing some shit that she didn't approve of, or maybe they were being mean or something, you know. When they're little, they're always kind of, you know, getting at each other, but she would just be like, be nice. Like that's all she would tell them. And it's just like, it's so simple, you know, just be nice. It's not hard.
Yeah.
It really isn't. And as far as the guy that, you know, cuts you off in traffic, like instead of just getting that immediate gratification of you know, because of course you get angry and it comes out real quick or whatever, you know, but instead of that, take that moment and go, okay, no matter how good of a driver I am, and I feel in my mind, I'm a great driver.
The best
I'm
there ever
sure
was.
Absolutely. I mean, I think, you know, we all think that, but I'm almost 100% positive I've cut somebody off I'm probably several times because of whatever reason. For a split moment, I just wasn't paying attention and I'm just like, like after you do it, you make that face like, oh shit, you know,
Yeah.
fuck, I did that thing that I don't like. It's like, just remember that. Remember that you have done that too. Have some empathy and let it go.
And also, you want to take it even a step farther, dude, even
Mhm.
just beyond that, because
Yeah.
that's a good lesson, I think, for sure. But
Mhm.
like, what if you were to look at that moment? All right. So somebody cuts you off when you're in traffic, really almost gets you into a car crash, and they don't even care. They don't even look back in their rear view to even check to see if
Yeah.
you're all right. Like
Mhm.
you are so insignificant because their world is main narrative. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying?
Which it should be, to be fair. you know.
It should be, but you still got to look out for
Right.
everybody,
No,
right?
yeah,
You still
for
got to be
sure, for sure.
cognizant of your
sure.
surroundings. And so in that moment, you could almost use that as that was a training lesson,
Hmm.
right? And
Yep.
are you going to fail or are you going to pass, right?
Mhm.
Because that's going to have the trickle down effect for the rest of your day, especially if
Oh.
you're in morning traffic, dude. Dude, I
Yeah.
live in Houston. You live in Phoenix. I mean, the traffic is absurd no matter
Mm-hmm. Yep.
where we are, right?
Hmm.
It's like everybody says that, like, oh, yeah, you know, to get from Houston to Houston is about an hour away, which
Yeah,
is true with all the traffic, right?
Easy.
And so, what if every single time somebody cuts you off, it's a tiny little exam?
Mhm.
And it's up to you. Are you going to catch yourself or are you going to instantly react? Because if
Right.
you're instantly reacting, you are now in defense mode. And do you want to be in defense mode for the rest of your day? Did that
No.
you just lowered yourself all the way down to the mind of an animal? Nothing wrong with animals. They're living in communion with nature and everything like that. I don't necessarily know if animals can become enlightened. I'm not even saying that that's what we're trying to do. But
Right.
I'm saying that they probably don't think on this level. You know what I'm saying?
No.
And that's probably not what they were made for anyway,
Mhm.
right?
Right.
But what if every single time it was a little test? I think that
Yes.
is like, just test
It's easy.
yourself.
Yeah. And then how many times does that have to happen before it's no longer a test because it doesn't even bother you no more? And then you expand that outward to other shit that bothers you. Now nothing is really getting to you. And now, like what was it, Sadhguru? He was saying, you know, I don't allow anybody else to control my emotions. Now you're in that place where nothing can touch you. You know what I'm saying?
Dude, and there's nothing that can throw you off. The car, or you know, the towing company comes and repos your car. Hey, it was meant to
It
happen,
is what
baby.
it is.
You know,
I
it
wasn't
just
supposed to have that car.
it wasn't for me. You know,
Yeah.
it was mine
Yeah.
temporarily, but that's all it was. You know, you stub your toe in the morning. Hey, that's test number 1, and I'm happy to tell everybody that I
Passing.
passed that one today.
Passing.
You know what I'm saying?
Passing.
And I
That's
know
it.
this seems so insignificant, but I promise you, if you're having 60,000 thoughts in a single day, you do not want half of them being poisoned by the reaction of your first action in the morning.
Mm-hmm. Yes, exactly, dude. Or even you can go even further. You know, you can go into the imagination. You start making up scenarios or narratives that aren't even real. You know what I mean? And you can let that snowball and let that dictate your whole day. You know, or you can say, okay, that's not real. You know, and let me just see what happens and just be present and just be my true self and
Oh,
let it
dude.
unfold.
I would obsess. I would literally obsess with thinking about revenge. Like on some real shit. Like
Right.
I would play the whole
Plan
thing
it
out in
out.
my mind. And I'm like, dude, if somebody, especially if somebody at work tried to like get one over on me, I'm
Right,
like,
right. Someone at work just didn't have a chance.
you
Yeah.
just wait. And you just wait until you do that again. I promise you will regret that.
You were
right?
even thinking through your teeth. You know, that's
Yeah.
how you know when you mean business.
Yeah. And it's a poisoning is really what's going on. You are poisoning, not metaphorically, not like any other way. You are literally poisoning your own self. And
Mhm.
and this is, dude, you want to take it even a step farther, dude. This
Let's
is
do it.
all right. So this is maybe this connects. I'm not sure, but this is something that's been on my mind.
All right.
For a while, I was like addicted to energy drinks.
Mhm.
Right? Like crazy.
here.
I could not wake up. I couldn't get up
It's
and do
part of the routine.
dude,
you know?
if I had to do laundry, I need an energy drink. If I
Yeah.
needed to do the dishes, oh, man, I just don't have that energy in me right now.
Yeah.
You know what does? That little happy juice that's in the fridge. You know what I'm
If you
saying?
needed to go buy an energy drink, you needed an energy drink. You know what I mean? It was getting bad.
Nothing
No.
would get me off the couch faster than the idea to drive to the gas station and get an energy drink.
Right, right.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
Mhm.
it's just
Which was
crazy.
almost the placebo that gave you energy out of nowhere because you knew you were going to go get an energy drink. You know, nothing inside of you biologically changed.
Well,
Just the idea of I'm going to have energy, so I better go do this.
dude.
You know?
And the crazy thing about energy and caffeine in general
Yeah.
is that caffeine doesn't give you energy.
Yeah.
It just turns off your sleepy receptors, literally. Right?
Which is a trip, dude. I'm going to have to look into that myself because I almost don't even believe it. It sounds so crazy.
It's facts, bro. It's facts. So, yeah, it's crazy, but It's just like that, we have the THC receptors in our mind and
Right.
everything. You're
Mhm.
like, wait a second, if we weren't supposed to smoke this, why do I got this thing in my head?
Yeah. Why was I? Yeah, exactly.
But so anyway, I got like super addicted to them for a little while, and I noticed that as I was doing them every day, and only because I'm super into conspiracies, y'all know I got the cult of conspiracy and everything. There's been a conspiracy that's been going around a long time that the Monster Energy can has like the Hebrew letter 666 on it.
Of course it does.
Right?
Yeah, it's
Which,
a monster. Dude.
I'm not gonna lie,
The
it
beast.
kind of looks like it, which is
Of
actually
course.
really crazy, right? And there was this whole woman that was at an expo and she was trying to do basically an expose on Monster Energy drinks. And then I most
Okay.
recently saw that somebody accidentally shined a light on the can and that reflection shined up against the wall. And it
Oh.
looked like straight up demonic code on the wall. I was like, what is going on? Right?
Right,
I was like,
uh-huh.
maybe that girl was on some shit,
Right,
She
right.
wasn't because at the time, whenever I was listening to her, I was like, oh, she probably thinks that Harry Potter is demonic too.
Yeah. Mhm.
I thought she was kind of that person. But now that I'm seeing it, and
Mm-hmm.
also with kind of the revelation that I had internally from being addicted to specifically Monster Energy drinks,
Yeah.
because I love the zero sugar green can. Psh,
Oh, dude.
Yeah.
Fire.
straight fire, dude. And but every time that I would drink it, it literally, if you think about the beast, just symbolically, and if you
Yeah.
think about 666, you think about the devil, you think about the beast, you think about temptation, right? Like you think about things you shouldn't be thinking about. You think about things that you want to do, but you shouldn't do, kind of deal, right? To be to dare I say to become in this world and of this world,
Mhm.
right? To
Yep.
really sink into that human form.
That lowest vibration of yourself.
Bro, that is exactly what Monster Energy drinks would do to me. Energy drinks in general would do to me. I would become so human form that I
Right.
would, dude, I wouldn't even have the energy. Nothing would happen in a meditation.
Uh-huh.
Anytime I wanted to calm myself within and bring myself back to that sense of peace,
Mhm.
no, I didn't even want to. That's where
Right.
where it was crazy. It was
Threw
like,
you all off.
I love this Hulk version of me that
Right.
just
And
is,
also, I need another one.
let's double up. Yeah. And it was great there for a little while, but that's what I realized. And then what I noticed is that whenever I would do it, like, cause dude, I was drinking like 4 a day. And because I would do 2 for each show, and sometimes I do 2 like 4 out of 7 days a week, I do 2 shows a day, right?
Yeah.
And so
It's
I
a
was
machine, dude.
dude, I would
Machine with
pound
it.
one before the show and one during the show.
Right. Oh
You know?
my God.
And it was
Right.
just crazy.
I'm trying to rip phone books in half.
And that's
you
on
know?
top of methylene blue. That's on top of the coffee. That's on top of lion's mane mushroom. I was
Right.
trying to get every advantage that I could.
Now
right?
you are AI.
just-
The all-encompassing,
I am like vision, right? And
completely embodied.
that's it. Yeah. And what I noticed is that not only was I becoming like very, very, very attached to this human form and very, very, very detached to my own spiritual nature, that if I did it for several days in a row, like 3 or 4 a day for several days in a row,
Yeah.
dude, you want to talk about the downside of
A
that?
crash.
Dude, not even crash. Like, this is beyond crash. I'm talking about depression. Like,
Oh,
depression, dude.
yeah. I
And
can imagine.
you know what they say? It's like every time you're depressed, it's really that you need deep rest, right?
Dude, that's actually very interesting because I was the same way, dude. And right around the time where my mind was kind of putting me through some loops and I was feeling kind of depressed, dude, I was drinking energy drinks like twice a day, every single day.
Yep.
So, oh my God.
Oh, dude, hardcore depression. And if you think about it, all that caffeine and all the different B vitamins and whatever else kind of junk
Yeah.
they put into energy drinks, every single one of them is literally created so that you don't sleep, so that you don't rest, so that you are on high awareness and on high alertness all the time, right?
Right.
You ain't really, dude, you're not falling into the REM sleep on that.
Right.
You're
Right.
not getting the sleep that your body
Oh,
needs in order to
fuck.
regenerate to be able to fire back up the next day.
Right.
And so
you're
it's
just you're further perpetuating this need for extra energy.
that's it. Yeah. And you just need more and another and another and another.
Right,
Before you
right.
know it, you're drinking 4 a day like I was. Right. And
Right.
I know some people like Jacob, bro. I've never seen Jacob drink a water. It's
Oh my
always an
God.
energy drink. Like
Good
he
thing there's
is.
a little bit of water in those, right?
I mean, they have to be made
There
with
has
some
to
kind of
be.
water, right?
Right,
Or like my great grandma used to say, "Oh, I don't drink water because it rusts my pipes." And I would say, maybe you should. I mean, she lived
Yeah, you
until she
might,
was
just
like
a little
80.
bit.
She was like 89 when she died. So I mean, she was
No,
doing
I
something
mean,
all right. But
she did something.
but
Yeah.
either way, my point is that like there are so many things out there that are designed to make you more in this world and of this world, to make you forget what your true nature is.
Mhm.
And I think that Monster energy drinks in general are just one of those things. There are
Mm.
plenty of other things. It's up to you to decide to make the decision, more than just a reaction in the moment, but it's up to you to kind of like stand on the foundation of your belief that not even just belief, your knowing, your gnosis, that you're so much more than that.
Dude.
You can literally manipulate the outer world around you by manipulating your inner world.
Mhm. Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
that
I mean,
easy.
it almost sounds too simple at this point.
Simple,
like,
but not easy.
Well, I mean, after everything that we've kind of come across, dude, and kind of figured out, and then when you finally get it, at least to the level that we're at now, dude, I mean, it almost seems just too simple. Like the way that you view reality is exactly what you're signing up for. It's what you're choosing to see. You say about people that are talking about the chemtrails. If you're deciding to see that your sky is being poisoned, then in fact, that's the reality that you're going to experience. And so, dude, how transmutable everything is just blows my mind.
Every single thing. And it's just like Dolores Cannon used to always say, if you can make yourself sick, you can heal yourself.
Dude.
And that's
Fuck.
not an exaggeration. I've seen it done. We've all
Mm.
probably seen it done to some extent, right?
Absolutely. And when just like what that thing was saying that you had read by that gentleman, as far as the what was it? The pain being the chisel that breaks through the veil or cracks at the veil. The pain that you went through experiencing that depression, and you're like, hold on, wait a minute, what is this? I've never experienced this before. You know what I mean? It took you that long to experience that pain to realize maybe I shouldn't be fucking drinking 3 energy drinks a day.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh,
Right?
and also in that video, you reminded me whenever he was talking about the sculptor, he goes, a sculptor isn't adding more things to
Oh, right.
to the clay.
Mhm.
He's taking away everything that isn't the statue. Right? And that's
Right.
all we're here to do. The energy drinks are not you. The food, the chemtrails, all these other bullshit things that
Mhm.
either are weighing you down or you're allowing to weigh you down
Yep.
are not you. So
Mhm.
chisel all that shit away and
Mhm.
get to the core of who you are, and you'll find it in silence, in between the notes, in between the breaths, in between the thoughts. Where that in between actually is the void. And in the void, everything was created.
And that's you.
And that's you.
That's great, dude.
Oh, God,
man,
I
you,
love this
you
stuff.
said this was gonna be a fun episode, dude, but you were right.
I try to be. So let's continue. All right. So all right. Guardian of your human.
Okay.
I know that is a lot to take in, but I promise you it is not. I can't promise anything really, but I believe that it's not crazy.
Right.
Like
We're with you, man.
we always have, everybody since the very beginning of time believed that they were talking to ancestors, gods, angels, aliens, spirits, spirit guides, your grandmother or whatever, right? And I'm not saying that it's not those things.
Mhm.
But what I am saying is that you have something inside of you that you can tap into at any moment, at any time. You don't need to perform a seance. You don't need to perform a ritual. You don't need to beg the sky gods to bring down the rain. You don't need any of these things. I'm not saying that you can't, not even saying that you shouldn't. What I am saying is that if you're the guardian to your human, then that's all you are, and you just got to bring yourself all the way down. Slow it down, baby. Like, slow it all the way down into the utter silence, and you will find that is where God is. That's where the one is. That's where the source is. That's where the source of all creation, if there ever was such a thing, that's where it is, right? And so, being guardian means that you don't abandon the human to chaos, nor do you let it run wild without guidance. Instead, you govern through alignment, always inviting your human back into harmony with the higher self. You become the compass pointing toward truth and love and wisdom, even when the human stumbles. This guardianship is not about perfection. It's about partnership. Your human provides the body, the emotions, and the earthly perspective. You, the spirit, provide the awareness, vision, and eternal perspective. Together, when aligned, you become a living bridge between the finite and the infinite. So, this reminds me, I have this buddy and been friends with him for a long time. He's one of those people that, just loves to talk shit. And for the longest time, I love talking shit. I still to this day, I get a good little, excitement about it. Just in good fun. But he was somebody, he would always talk shit. Anytime he beats you in a video game, he beats you in fantasy football, beats you in a game of chess, whatever. I mean, you want to talk about a showboat and show off. And so, or in disc golf or basketball, literally anything that we played, right? And if he won, he let the world know it. You know what I'm saying? That not only did he win, but you lost, which probably is the worst part. But he honed in on that part, right? Really took it to that level. And so, whenever I won, oh my God, I wanted to dish it back at him. Every single which way. But the problem was, and I don't know if this was part of his scheme or if this is actually who he was. I actually believe that this is actually who he was, or who he is. He's not dead or anything, but
right.
Every single time I beat him, he would go so internal, like a clam, like go so internal, like the hermit in the middle of the woods in a cabin without a light on acres and acres and acres of land, and you couldn't find him. Right? So internal. He judged himself so damn hard. And you felt bad to even talk shit because you knew damn well he was already talking that much shit to himself. How could I lose to this guy? How dare I? I can't believe I made that move. I can't believe I made that decision. I just got caught up in the moment, right? So internal. He would beat himself to death internally, right? Judge himself to hell, right? It's where, you never even wanted to talk shit because you're like, oh, man, he's really being hard on himself.
He's already doing the work, dude.
Right. And I don't know, it just made me think, like, it's crazy how people can let themselves get to that level, but they never let themselves do the reverse.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so, I don't know, I just wanted to bring that up. But anyway, don't get like that. It's okay to lose. It's okay to suck at something. It's okay to like mess up or misstep or, misguide or whatever. That's what this is saying, is that it's not a journey to perfection. It's nowhere, dude. Perfection is a place. You know what I'm saying? Like it's a place in the mind. It's not necessarily like you aced your test in that sense. And I think that as long as you can learn from, your mistakes and your missteps and, all that kind of stuff, then that's perfection right there.
That's it, dude. I mean, every once in a while, we're going to miss the mark. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Sinner, a divine sinner, sir. So I wanted to say this last part right here. So you are the spirit made into form, the soul made into flesh, not as a punishment, but to be used as an instrument. Before you were made into the physical, you were with the rest of the divine oneness, God, the universe, the source, the one. Doesn't matter what you call it because it doesn't care, because you're not separate from it. You are it. You've always been it. You just forgot. And what a beautiful thing it is to forget and then remember. So poetic of you to play hide and seek with your own true nature. This is who you are. This is who we all are. You want to know who loves you more than anyone in the entire world? It's you. You give yourself motivational speeches every day. You comb your hair. You bathe yourself. You feed yourself. You take yourself on trips. You tell yourself stories. You spend literally every single moment with yourself. Can you name any other person who does that for you? Who is it that goes to the bathroom with you? Who is it that walks to the mailbox with you? Who is it that listens to your every single word, uttered or unspoken? Who is it that feels every single emotion with you? It's you. There is never a moment you are alone because you have you, the divine you, the whole you. You are loved more than you could ever know. You are cared more than anyone who has ever cared for any other person, literally. It's been in you all along, so stop hiding from it. Be one with it and see how much your life can change. You want to rip that veil right off your fucking face, as Lord Byron would say?
Indeed.
You are the Savior. You are the divine. You're the one who's coming to save you. You are the place. Oh man, this is a good one.
Do it.
You are the place you go when you die.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm about to contemplate that for a good minute, I think. That's tonight.
You are the place you were before you were born. Why are near-death experiences different to everyone? Why are DMT trips different to everyone? Why does everyone have different dreams? Similar, sure. We're all living human existences. It's because you go back to you when you die. This is not this human version of you, the higher you, the you that is the guide, the you that's been you in countless different versions. You've lived many, many lives to get to this point right here, right now. Do you remember?
Damn, dude. That's why when you go to take out the trash, you know what I mean, and you're by yourself, that's like the most mystical time in any day. You know what I mean? You leave the house, everything's loud in the house. You go outside, it's quiet. You go to take the trash, you throw it in there, you look at the stars. You know what I mean? That's you with you.
That's it. That's it. I do want to take a little bit of credit. I wrote that last part by myself.
I had a feeling.
So I do have one question, Sean. The cosmic riddle, where I said, what walks with you yet leaves no shadow? What dines at your table yet eats no bread? What breathes your breath, sighs your sighs, and keeps the count of every heartbeat? It watches your laughter and weeps with your grief. It trembles in passion and sinks into your sleep. It listens when no one else is near and hears the word that you never speak out loud. So, who is it? Who is what is the answer to this cosmic riddle, sir?
I would say that that's your true self, your higher self. That's you.
You. That's it.
You.
That is the all divine I am, sir.
Love it. I love it.
Some call it God, and they're not wrong, but the answer is closer, more intimate still. The answer is you.
Dude, which reminds me that one time, you know, when I was like asking for some divine message or some, maybe show me something in the sky, you know, or what was it? No. I was actually asking for something more tangible, a message that was so clear. And then I saw something in the sky. And then my wife brings me the phone and says the only words she said was, "That was you." And I went, whoa, you know what I mean? Like, what? Like, I literally asked for a tangible message that I could actually hear, you know, because I feel like there are times when you get some, call it a download, whatever you want to call it, you know, but I wanted to actually audibly hear something tangible in that way. And then I see something in the sky, and then my wife says, "Oh, that was you," because she was showing me something in reference to maybe something I had done before, something stupid, I'm sure, something that made her laugh. I don't know. I forget now what it was, but she said, "That was you." And I went, oh my God.
Let's go, dude. I have, So I did record something. I was on every time I get on the road, because I got to drive out to Louisiana. It's like a 5.5 hour drive, depending on traffic, to Louisiana there and back every other weekend, right?
Yeah.
And so I go into deep contemplative thought, bro, the entire time. Even
How
if
could
I'm
you
listening,
not?
I could be listening to a podcast, I could be listening to music, I could be, listening to a YouTube video or something, whatever, right? But like, even with all that going on in the background, my mind is like, dude, this is the zone where like shit happens, And so
Yeah.
I wanted to play this part, dude. Check this out. I'm just playing this off my phone. Let me know if you can hear it, but
All right.
My ears started ringing as soon as I heard this. You are the remembering that saves the world.
let's go, dude. You are the remembering that saves the world. And,
Oh my God.
I know that there are some people out there that are like, they kind of take it to like a weird place where they're like, my ears are ringing. You know what that means? Dude, I'm starting to get down with it. I really am.
Dude, I feel like, and just me personally, whenever that happens, it really is just a reminder for me to be like, okay, let me think about what's going on. How am I doing inside? Like, it's just a reminder. And I'm not saying I do it every time, but that's how I look at it. It's just like the synchronicities, it's just a little reminder. Okay, that's something that is definitely different. There's a contrast in what I was experiencing and what I'm doing now, as far as this ringing that just popped off, right? And so I just look at it like that. It's just a reminder for me to just be aware. What am I thinking about? What's going on? Like, and it's just a little bit of self-reflection.
Like,
even
the
if it's
way-
just for a moment.
Yeah, I mean, the way that I was looking at it earlier, especially if it's like, if I'm in the middle of reading something that is profound, or something that like really resonates, and then
Yeah.
my ears start to ring, I'm like,
Confirmation.
that to me, and whatever anybody wants to think about that, we're talking about our own inner worlds of what we choose to kind of attach definitions to or whatever. But yeah, like that to me, whenever that happens, I'm like, confirmation. That's all I need. and I've only recently started to get there,
Right.
But I almost feel like it's like a frequency that, your higher self, your guide, the God within you or whatever is sending out, so that like, it's just the highest pitch of a ringing that almost feels like it's coming from another fucking dimension, dude.
Yeah.
It's almost like
a radio frequency or something, just so bizarre when
it's
it
like a
happens out of
dog
nowhere.
whistle, dude. Well, you know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like,
Yep.
the craziest thing. So I have one video that I did want to show. It's just a YouTube short, but it's Wayne Dyer. And
Okay.
since this show was kind of inspired by him, I figured let's listen to the man's voice, right? Because it is so damn good, dude. And so let's see what he has to say right here.
Right.
The name I am is the name of God. When Moses was speaking to God, he said, you tell them my name is I am that I am, and that will be my name for all future generations. Every time you use the word I am and you say I am weak, I am poor, that's blasphemy. That's really a desecration of the name of God, because the highest place within you is called I am. And so I just say I am well, I am content, I am peaceful. That's why I tell people the last 5 minutes of the day before you go to sleep at night are the most important 5 minutes of your day. You are now going to go into your subconscious mind for the next 8 hours. As you enter into your subconscious mind, begin to reprogram the subconscious mind. Use those last 5 minutes to program into I am well, I am healthy, I am content, I am peaceful, I am unattached, I am in love, I am God. I am God. The name I
Let's go, dude.
Damn, dude.
He was
Basically, you're designing the reality you want to see, dude.
you're setting the blueprint.
Oh my God.
That's it. Yeah. I mean, think about Danny Goler, and he's like seeing like the matrix code through the laser. It's like, dude, you are already doing that internally, and your expression outwardly is going to mimic whatever's
Right.
going on in the inner world.
Right. And I was going to say something as far as, because he was saying like the I am is, if for even further future generations, it's like for people that would, and he was speaking on it being like blasphemous to even say that you are less than, or I am not worthy, or I am like, how, in a way, follow me, it's somewhat egotistical to even suggest that you are capable of becoming separate. You know what I mean?
Dude, I'm so happy you brought that up because I wanted to touch on that too. The idea that every time you say I am something that is less than what you are,
Right.
it absolutely would be blasphemous if you're looking through this lens. You're telling
You're no
your
longer divine.
you're telling your guardian self,
Uh-huh.
your spirit self, your God self, your everything that is self, what it's not or what it's lacking. You want to talk about blasphemy? It's, I mean, you not eating the cracker during your ceremony at Sunday service is nothing compared to the blasphemy that it is saying that you're something that you're not. Like,
Right.
that is the level of blasphemy. And so this is the idea.
Go ahead.
The idea, and dude, I have been doing so much insane research on around the time that the Bible was put together in the 300s.
Okay.
And I have become obsessed with it. Like, it is almost a sickness. It's like, it's crazy.
So what are your findings?
Well, I found that that Emperor Constantine, dude, you want to get real crazy. All right. I wasn't really trying to go here, but fuck it. We'll go.
Let's do it.
Emperor Constantine was worshiping his entire life another deity called Sol Invictus, right? Sol Invictus was like a solar god who was helping people through battle, right? Just like a badass solar god that was like all about that war. You know what I'm saying? I almost want to say that it was probably Mars, and not even the sun. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, not even the sun.
I mean, it's Sol Invictus, which is supposed to be the sun. But anyway, so, and then you see that through the time that he was the emperor is whenever they started lifting up the restrictions on people being able to outwardly express their belief as far as Jesus, right?
Okay.
Because before this time, before Constantine, Christians, Jews, didn't matter, were getting slaughtered for their beliefs because it went against the system of government that Rome was running at that time. Rome wasn't only just like Rome. Dude, it stretched throughout many different parts of the world, right? It wasn't just in that area, like over in Italy. Like it's, dude, I mean, we're talking about, it was a fucking empire, dude. And so like it stretched into Mesopotamia, like crazy, right? And so every time somebody uttered a belief that was contradictory to Rome's belief, you were put to death because your belief, almost like over in China right now, you're not allowed to have any beliefs because it's communistic, right?
Okay.
So your only belief can be that of the government. That's Rome. Okay.
Right.
That's Rome. And I don't know if they were necessarily communistic in Rome. I don't really know a whole lot about Rome other than just kind of what I'm learning now.
Okay.
But in that time, Constantine, he goes into battle. This is crazy. Goes into battle and allegedly sees like a cross that's upside down like a sword. Or I think it was like a sword that was shaped like a cross. You know what swords look like.
Yeah.
And basically saying that like in that moment he believed it was like a vision that he had. Nobody else had. But he had this vision while he was in battle and he saw a cross and said that like, use this and you'll win your battle or some shit, right?
Okay.
And so he sees that vision and he's like, oh my God, the Christian God is the real God. Allegedly, that's the story, right? And after that, all the restrictions were kind of lifted. And I'm like, wait a second. So the guy who believed in Sol Invictus is now a Christian believer. And now he wants to be able to put together all these different councils. I think there was like 4 or 5 councils over the course of like 80 years or something like that. That essentially like put together all the different books of the Bible together to become eventually what we know as the Bible with the Old Testament and the New, right?
Right.
I mean, they were working on the New Testament because the Old Testament was the Torah with the original books and all that other shit. We're talking about the New Testament that became the full Bible now, right?
Right.
And they were determining what books were meant to be canonized and which books were meant to be not canonized, right? And they got rid of
real quick, because I hear people say the whole canonized. I am ignorant. What does that mean to be canonized?
Like what's true that belongs in this book is canonized.
What's official?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So the official quote unquote books that were meant to be going
Okay.
in the Bible, right? And they had to
Alright.
sift through like a lot of different books. And dude, if you look into fucking Apostle Paul, and if you were to look at the Bible without Apostle Paul's writings, because he wrote like a lot while he was in jail and shit, you would understand that most Christians are not even followers of Christ. They're followers of Paul. And it's actually really crazy. That's a whole nother story, bro.
Okay.
So anyway, because most of the things that people believe nowadays are not even Jesus's sayings. They're from Paul, who never met Jesus, by the way.
Right. That's what I've heard. You're right.
Okay. So anyway, what I found, and this is just a fun little bit of information, but what I found is that isn't it interesting that Constantine, who believed in Sol Invictus, who now wanted to usher in the believability and basically allow you to believe in Christianity without being slaughtered, he's the one that set that ball rolling. He's the one that allegedly had the vision. And then you go back to almost every single picture of Jesus. Almost every single one. I think that you would actually be pretty damn hard pressed not to find a picture of Jesus without a sun behind his head. Okay? You might ask, wait a second. That's interesting. He was worshiping Sol Invictus, and now he's worshiping Jesus allegedly. But why is there a sun behind his head? And that's because he wanted to fucking merge the two. All right? He was trying to take old quote unquote pagan beliefs, because now they're beliefs in Christianity. So now all their old beliefs are all pagan, right?
Right.
Even though, whatever. And so I thought it was really interesting, just the symbolism behind all of it. And it just goes to show that I don't think that any of these people were actually believers. Any of the people, I'm not talking about the regular people. I'm talking about the people of power in government in Rome at the time that were having all the councils. I don't believe that they were actually true and honest believers of the book, of the man, or anything like that, because Rome was the same people that had Jesus crucified in the first place. Okay, let's just not remember that, or let's not forget that, right? And now all of a sudden they want to turn him into a martyr to build their government around.
Yep.
I don't buy it.
Interesting.
I don't buy it.
It is interesting.
So
it is interesting.
just saying, everybody should be doing their own research and seeing how it was all put together. What intentions were behind putting it together? And do you believe that somebody just had a vision and all of a sudden they believe in Christianity now? Come on.
Right.
Come on.
Yeah, dude.
So
Talking
just,
about government and power, you know what I mean? You're going to do whatever it takes, I think. You know, you're a human being. You're going to try to do what it takes to get whatever narrative or whatever goal you're trying to accomplish, you know?
and also during that time, all the emperors leading up to Constantine, including Constantine, were worshipped as gods. Just so everybody knows that. So
And
they
didn't you say that their currency, because you were speaking on this before, didn't you say that in their currency there was also a sun behind them, like on a coin or something like that?
Yep.
Oh, and was that Constantine?
Or
who was that on?
every emperor before Constantine leading up to this
Had a sun behind them.
had a sun behind them to
Oh,
show
that's interesting.
to show their divinity, so that they weren't just human, that they were gods in the flesh. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
And
to deify themselves.
They were deifying themselves, yes, and they did that to keep order of the realm.
Right.
Because
Oh.
anybody can just, believe a man, but this guy he's basically a demigod,
Obviously. It's obvious.
right? And
You
so
know,
that was
right.
to keep the law and order, essentially. So, and then also you
fascinating.
look into like government and like see what it means in Hebrew, or I think it was Hebrew or Greek or some shit, and where it literally means govern mente, which means to
The mind.
mente is the mind,
Right.
govern is control, so it's mind control is really
Right.
what it is. So anyway, just want to throw that out there. It really has nothing to do with what we're talking about, but it's just
Very fascinating anyways. You know, it's still human behavior and just the psyche, you know, the mind of humans and what we're capable of and what we're capable of believing, should we choose to or not. You know, it's very fascinating.
And dude, and just to add a little extra spice to that, I was doing a little bit of research and I was trying to find because Paul never met Jesus, he was kind of just like repeating a lot of Jesus's words and showing people like this is what he actually meant, right?
Mm-hmm.
And all at the same time adding on top, right? Now,
Right.
he was not divinely instructed. There was allegedly, a vision that he had on the road to Damascus, all these different visions. Everybody's having a vision nowadays. And that's what became, because he used to like slaughter Christians and shit like that. And he was like super.
Paul did.
Paul was like super anti-Christian. That back whenever his name was Saul, and then whenever he became Christian, that was his Christian name was Paul. Same guy.
Okay.
So he was like super anti that. And he was literally the one going into people's houses and killing
now
them.
he's like one of the main authors within the Bible.
Dude, he has more.
What a
He-
turnaround, I
there-
gotta say.
There are more
Impressive.
There are more Paul quotes in the Bible than Jesus's quotes.
Whoa.
I'm not even exaggerating. And I'm talking about New Testament, of course.
Right.
But there is more Paul than there is Jesus.
Holy shit. Is that a well understood thing as far as Paul not even being around during that time? Or because in my mind, because I just don't know shit, I haven't read the Bible. I'm completely ignorant when it comes to a lot of the historical things and all of this. I just assumed that they were all around at the same time. And that's how everything was written about, because it was like first witness testimony. You know what I mean? Like they were witnessing this.
Dude,
And so then they were jotting it down. Like that was what I assumed was going on.
the four main gospels, which is Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, the first of which wasn't even allegedly written until the year 70 AD. Jesus died in 33 AD, bro. You're talking about damn near 40 years later, they're trying to remember and jot down what he said 40 years after the fact.
Right.
So, and Paul was around during that time whenever all the shit was being constructed, right? Of course he was. He was the one that was going around proselytizing. He was the one going around saying like, we should believe in Christianity, and also let me add a little piece to it because I was divinely inspired. I saw Jesus. Jesus gave me a message, right?
Of course.
And so it's just, it's crazy, and I don't know if enough people know about that kind of stuff. So I really just wanted to show, or kind of just tell the story of my findings. I'm not trying to dissuade anybody from their beliefs by any means. I'm just saying maybe the story is a little bit different than what you were taught.
Dude, I mean, I wasn't even taught that. I just kind of assumed certain things. You know what I mean? I think that's what we do. You kind of hear something and you kind of you try to put the pieces together. And so in my mind, it was just logical to assume that these apostles or whoever, Paul, like they were all just kind of around and like jotting history right in front of their eyes, that was
Dude,
happening.
Let me tell you another thing too. So I was like, I wonder if we were to take out all of Paul's writings, because it all comes from his letters of what he was writing while he was in jail. But
Okay.
if we were to take also he was the one that kind of like, what's the word? He was the one that was going from city to city opening up churches.
Okay.
So think the church went from like a mom and pop kind of thing to
a
now
franchise.
it's a chain.
Right.
Okay.
Right,
Paul
right.
turned it into a chain.
Okay.
So Paul, if you take out all of Paul's writings, I believe that Christianity would have just remained a small Jewish sector of a cultish sector of Judaism.
Oh, wow.
And it would have never gotten to the level that it is without Paul.
Wow.
So just want to throw that out there. Just want to say, if you ever decide, and feel free to, battle up against me on this. I'm not like the most well-versed on it, but I feel like I have a pretty decent understanding of
Right.
it. But yeah, I just feel like not enough people really dive deep enough. It's just more of a blind faith. And this is, I'm telling you, dude, and look, I'm not trying to say that Jesus ain't real. If you believe in him, he is.
Yep.
That's,
I mean, that's kind
and
of
I don't mean that in a negative way.
No, not at all. No, I'm glad you brought it up though, because I have myself been looking into certain things just because, we do talk about it, and so I do want to be a little more informed, But like, I'm glad you brought that up because, I feel like you're right. I feel like a lot of people probably don't know certain things like that. They cover the Genesis, or they go over certain things maybe when they go to church, like particular items that they like to really hit on, and there's a lot of things that it's just not common knowledge.
Don't ask that.
Don't be asking questions, dude. What I tell you about that, you know?
If you remember that old YouTube video, asking all them questions, asking all them
Yeah,
questions,
dude.
making statements. Don't be doing all
I
that.
remember that. Yeah.
So anyhow, yeah, I think that's pretty much what we got as far as Wayne Dyer, your spirit guardian, and kind of just remembering who the fuck you are, dude.
I love
That's
it, dude.
it.
And I would still like to, if we could, share that link so people can listen to that whenever they want. Because like I said before we started recording, I feel like it's something that you can listen to many times over whenever you feel like you need to, whenever you need to remember, some of these
Yes.
things. There's a lot in there, and maybe one day something hits you a little more and you want to vibe on that one particular saying, but I feel like we can listen to this over and over and just get something else out of it, depending on where you are in the journey.
That's it, dude. Yeah. And so I just love this kind of stuff, and just coming into the realization, coming into like, you don't need to be a believer in anything. There's nothing you need to believe. It's just something to embrace. It's something to embody. It's an essence that is always there. It's an essence that isn't judging. It's an essence that is always there for every single thing that you're going through, every single millithought that goes through your mind. It is there. So just so everybody knows, you are never alone. And let's try and embrace that higher aspect.
I love it, dude. And that being said, we got a tarot card, my good dude. It's the Two of Wands.
Oh, a wandy.
Yeah, dude.
The Two of Wands. Let's go to our handy dandy. Oh, wow. This is great. Okay. The Two of Wands. A choice to expand your world awaits. Do you stay with what you know or choose the unknown adventure? The Two of Wands card is an invitation to ponder the future. A man looks out onto the vast expanse of land from a position high up in his luxurious castle. Is that where the guide is? The higher self there?
Yeah, I think so, dude. A
He
little
is-
higher perspective.
Yeah. He has already established his position of stability, and now he craves adventure. One wand is securely anchored to the castle walls, showing his efforts to build his fortune, while the other wand is held above his head. In his other hand, he holds a globe, as if to say the world is in his hands. Where will he go next? The Two of Wands signals an opportunity to plan for the next exciting phase in an already rich and full life. The spiritual message says, weigh your options before making a big decision and heed intuitive guidance in your decision-making process. You're making plans and taking your goals to the next level and phase of life, which is exciting. Your life continues to be enriched when you follow a spiritual path and explore new directions. The upright key meanings are choice and future plans. And it's also the two, so it's the Two of Wands, right?
Mm-hmm.
The numerology of two means choice and partnership. So-
Dude, is that not spot on from that conversation we had and everything leading up to this very episode?
Dude, in his, what hand is he holding the globe? In the right, in his right hand is the hand that he is holding the globe, as if to say the world is in his hands. Where will he go next? The right, often associated with the right brain, which is often associated with the...
Logic.
No, not logic.
No,
Left is
imagination.
logic.
Yeah, my bad. That's
The
my bad.
the
That's on me.
imaginative. It's on you. Shame on you. But it's the opposite of logic. The imaginative, the wondrous, the wondrous
shit.
one, right? And
Right.
so, dude, that was the perfect card. I love it.
Absolutely. That
Beautiful.
one actually popped out in kind of a strange way because it was like, you're shuffling, you get to the last little chunk of cards that you're going to throw, and all the cards fell out, but that one like stuck in my hand. And so I was like, oh, okay, well, and I almost like second guessed it. I was like, okay, that's the one.
Ain't no
Dude, so
coincidence.
perfect, dude. I think you're right. I don't think there's another card that would have lined up with that, dude. And I think this episode was so fun. I'm gonna be honest with you, and I'm not even just trying to pat you or myself on the back. I feel like that was just I thoroughly enjoyed that.
Yeah, it was a great episode, especially stepping into our mystic roles now.
Yes,
And I know that is
embodying it, if you will.
I know that may be a self-appointed term. And maybe it is, maybe it isn't. Some people would say that we're into the craft. We're wizards, we're sages, we're witches, or we're practices of the underworld and the dark realms, or minions of the Dark Lord, right? Like everybody wants to apply their own definition to what we are. And so we say, nay, we will give ourselves our own definition as to what we aim to be and what we aim to embody, what we are already embodying, I believe. So, yeah, it is the Meta Mystics, baby. And we're sticking to it.
To be fair, dude, I think everything is self-appointed. You know what I mean? I mean, if you think you're not worthy, well, you're just you're affirming that and becoming that label as someone that is not worthy. And so everything is self-appointed anyway.
Yes. It's great whenever you actually step into being instead of wishing that you were.
That's it. Yes.
You know, that's kind of the idea that we're trying to embrace over here. So, yeah, Sean, any final words before we get into the meditation, good sir?
Dude, I'm just excited for this next level or whatever you want to call it, this fork in the road that we've come to, and we've chosen, you know, where we're going and where we're heading, and you know, I'm just looking forward to the journey, man. You know, just continuing this thing.
Life's a garden, you got to dig it, you know?
Dig it. That's it.
So anyhow, look, I wanted to say if everybody enjoyed this episode, you found yourself sitting in contemplation and wonder and wondering what if this is true. If you enjoyed this kind of conversation or these details that we decided to bring up and research and study and try and fully understand and embrace the essence of said message, then please, it would really be a big help if you would go and leave us a review and leave us 5 stars. If you're on Apple, leave us a message on the individual episode on Spotify or wherever. You can share this with all your family and all your friends. We also have a YouTube channel if you want to be able to see that. Our YouTube is youtube.com/metamystics. Now that link is down in the show notes below. And if you could just go over there and subscribe and hit the bell and hit likes on all the videos, that really helps with the algorithm like crazy. If you want to be able to support us in the best possible way, then you would go to patreon.com/metamystics. That link is also down in the show notes below. We have several tiers over there. We have a super cheap tier at $3.33 a month, dude. That is, I don't even, what are we doing? 16, no, I'm tripping. So 2, 4, 6, 8 or 9 episodes a month. You're talking about literally 40 cents an episode is what you're paying, or not, my math could be off. It's somewhere in there if you're only paying $3.33. Either way, it is a great way to be able to help support the show. And then if you want to be able to join us for our Wonder Wiz Day episode, that is $8.88 a month. You get all of these shows as you would in the $3.33 tier, along with completely commercial free. You'll be able to slide into our DMs. You'll be able to see all the video. You'll be able to comment under each individual video, and you can become part of a community of wizards. Okay, you want to be a part of a coven of witches. It's all encompassing. It's eclectic over there. So come on down to Funky Town over at patreon.com/metamystics, and we appreciate all the love and support that we got from the one already.
Dude, it's kind of weird actually. Not weird, like weird in a good way. You know, when you said metamystics, it's like, it's almost like, and this is where my mind went because I'm a little weirdo, that this has always existed and we kind of just made a jump to the universe in which it has. You know what I mean?
100%. Yeah. It's not even that you have to imagine it. It's that you should just know it. You know what I mean?
It just is, you know.
We live in the we live in a wizarding world in which we are trying to manifest our every moment. So, yeah, come check us out and over at all those places. Help support us in any way that you possibly can. We are actually going to be getting into the meditation here in just a moment. You will only be able to see that at Patreon. You won't be able to see it on YouTube or on the podcast or anything. We don't want any commercial interruption during any of the meditation. We want it to be completely deep in these meditations. We're trying to get to theta or deeper within these meditations. And then there's also, of course, the messages that we feel like we may have received during said meditation, which are always great and very insightful. So yeah, you can come join us in the meditation over there, but yeah, that's where we're going to go. And so Yeah, this was a freaking awesome show, dude. Very insightful, I thought. And I just want to say, if you, as the spirit guide, came here and you taught yourself anything, it's that you don't know what you don't know. So don't just get weird.
Stay weird. I feel like that was a motherfucker of an episode. You know?
It felt like it. Yeah, I tried to bring as much energy as I could to that bad boy because it excited me so much learning and listening to that and doing even deeper research and deeper contemplation, trying to tie it all together and just fully embracing what we are, who we are, where we're like, what we're trying to be, you know, in that sense. And
yeah,
just love that shit.
Oh, dude, there was so much in there that I was just trying to follow along and make sure, like, to pick one thing that out of what you said and remember it so I can bring that up later, because there was so much of, you know what I mean, what he was saying in that. But it was, dude, it's just empowering, dude. I feel like when I was listening to it, I was like, oh my God, this is what we've been looking for.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm not even just saying that, you know, like, I know that when we came across like Neoplatonism, not to say that that's not also kind of what's happening if you were to visualize that, you know, if we're all one and everything kind of exploded into the universe, you know, like ultimately I feel like that's what it is. But dude, that it's, I don't know, this is it, dude. You know,
yeah,
you're
so
creating your existence, your reality, your everything you choose to see and choose not to see, and how you feel about it. And you know, and that's what makes you move a certain way.
And
like everything just fucking snowballs and become like, it's almost every little thing is so not noticeable, but those add up and it becomes what you are, how you are relating to everything else. And you know, it's hard to explain, dude. I'm trying to.
No, I know it's hard to put it into words, and this was something that I had a hard time even getting together because I was like, I know it, but how do I say it? You know, and
because you want to say it in a way that people understand, because ultimately that's the, you know, but people are gonna have to put in the work. They're gonna have to actually contemplate and really, you know, because I have a feeling there probably are people that listen because they enjoy it and it's, you know, it's fun, but they're not taking that time after to contemplate and to meditate and to. Because that's where it happens, dude. I don't lay in bed like a normal person anymore.
No,
my life is different. You know,
dude,
like
that's the thing
on
is
some
that
real shit. Like
it's
a different world, man.
I'm gonna be going forward with every single episode with this as the foundational like truth.
The lens, yes,
it has
absolutely
to be. Like that.
Absolutely.
That's how this evolves.
That's where we go.
Fuck yeah,
I'm with you on that, dude. You know what I mean? Ah, fuck.
What a fucking banger, dude. I can't believe we got
was.
We did.
It only took us 2 years, you know, of kind of just, you know, stumbling along and, you know, in a good way, because we're trying to look at everything. But like,
I mean,
now
we get initiated, you know,
when you know everything works, depending on how you're looking at it and what you believe, you know, like those people that have near-death experiences, or I'm sorry, there was a video that I watched and it was like where's that? I can't think of the place that you go when you're about to die. What's that? You go to it's a hospital for people that are basically on their deathbed. Hospice, right? I don't know why I couldn't think of that, but this nurse was saying that this person or a few people that she's experienced were like, oh, my feet are getting hot, you know, and then you can think of like, where are they going when, cause you know what I mean? They're experiencing like a hot place. It's like their mind and their beliefs, like you believed in it so hard and also believed that you weren't worthy still of not going there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that dictates the experience you have leaving this physical body.
Yes.
Interesting.
Yes. And that's,
you know,
that's why I tried to tie it all in together there at the end with, you know, the near-death experiences and the DMT and the dreams and all these things that everybody experiences just slightly different from one another, yet None of it is reality.
What is your real quick? Just because I was curious, because I think you did mention like the void, or at least that guy's writings mentioned the void. What, just through this lens, what was that void? How are you looking at it now? If you could put that into words, as far as just because I'm curious.
The void, and this is my understanding of the void, is constantly evolving.
Mm-hmm.
But through this lens, I believe, as it said, that the void
Is
is
you? Is that what it said? Or maybe I
mean, it's you, but
misremembered.
it's the place where nothing exists and limitless potential is. So nothing has been created yet from that void.
Right, right.
So it's you essentially going into the void and like Minecraft building
Uh-huh.
in there. And that is where everything is created from, is from the void.
So if you look at it in that sense, it was definitely the major ego death. Let's remove everything. And now you can add to that, as you go along.
Dude.
It's kind of the reverse of removing everything that is not you. This was, okay, let me show you everything that's not you, and that's nothing at all. You know what I mean? Like,
literally, like how I looked at everything ceased to exist, and now I was able to be in that voided space where it was completely devoid of everything that I'd ever known except a remnant of me.
right.
And that remnant of me had to build its way out to this life that I experience now.
And I'm just trying to think about this, like the true self that was you in that moment, just observing, because you were there. Obviously, you were there. You were experiencing it. And so, what is it that you were most concerned with in that moment when everything was gone? What was because I think that was your true self in that, you know what I mean? In that moment, what were you?
What I was most concerned with was that I had destroyed everything.
Mm-hmm.
Like I was concerned that it was my fault that everything ceased to exist and that I was powerless in that moment to ever even come up with the idea to even think to bring it back.
Mm-hmm.
And so whenever I was able to come out of that void, now every single day that went on, it was nothing but contemplation. You know that I went to fucking deep depression.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Right? Every single moment was trying to build up a fucking ladder up out of that void.
Right.
Right. And
right.
So I was able to see at the very pit of existence, which where nothing existed, which I actually really, looking back, I look back on it fondly now. Like I don't look back on it a fucking sad or anything like that. Like I look back on it. I mean, I look back and I almost have a little empathy for myself from who I was then.
Okay.
But now I'm thankful for the experience because it was that experience alone that helped me understand that this fucking place can blink out of existence. And even when it does, I don't.
Right. Oh, that's fascinating. Okay. That's very interesting, man. Because I try to imagine what that would even be like, because it's just the scariest thing I can imagine, in the way that you describe it, and like you had your emotion going into like just telling the story, and I'm like putting myself there, and I'm trying to imagine like nothingness. When you close your eyes and you can't see, even at night when you close your eyes, at least for me, it's not completely pitch black.
No.
It seems like there's, I don't know.
Dude, whenever
some sense of not just complete blackness.
And the fucking
and the void was that.
I'll give you an example. Whenever I was in 5th or 6th grade, I don't know. I was in middle school. Middle school was only 5th and 6th grade for me. But in middle school, there was this science class, and I can't remember what the fuck his name was, but Mr. Morgan. Holy shit, where did I pull that out from?
Okay.
So Mr. Morgan, and he almost looked like a taller version of Dr. Phil. Just reminded me of him.
Okay.
But he had a fucking planetarium literally inside of his classroom. You walk through a door, he had a whole planetarium. It's crazy.
Oh, wow.
Right?
That's cool.
Crazy for like such a little podunk middle school in Pennsylvania, you know?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
But I remember going in there and there's no windows. Like you're in a room that's inside of another room. So it's
Mhm.
completely dark. It's completely silent.
Yeah.
I mean, if you stayed in there long enough, you'd go crazy.
Uh-huh.
And then he would, turn on the projector and then show the stars and all the
Yeah.
different constellations and all that shit. But he would let us sit in that darkness for like a minute. And he would
Oh.
just say, just don't say anything. Just listen. And we would have to sit there, not fucking say anything. We would just listen for a whole minute, which is an eternity.
Oh yeah,
Kid,
dude.
for a little kid in that moment, dude,
Uh-huh.
eternity. I was fucking
Yeah.
like 10, you know?
That's
And
interesting, dude.
and dude, that's the closest thing that I can even compare to what the void was. It was completely devoid of sound. It was completely devoid of light. It was completely devoid of life. You couldn't, dude, in that fucking planetarium, you couldn't see your hand if you were
Mhm.
like this, bro. That's how dark it was.
Right.
And that's what it felt like in the void. But in that moment, I was really just like fucking sad, in that in that void.
And so when you came out of it, you were sad still, right? Because it took you a minute to come out of that completely to where you were able to like, all right, it's already been transmuted. I'm already like, I'm glad now that I had that experience. Like, but before that, you were still very sad. Like, what was that? What do you think that was? Because you made it to the other side. You could see things. You're alive. You're back. What is it that was making you still feel like remorse or
just fucking it just weighed on me, dude. It just weighed
just
on me. It's like have
because
you ever had
that is something that is possible? Or
that I didn't know what I just witnessed. But all right, I'll give you another example. Whenever so I've had dreams of like my mom dying. Dude, and I'm like boohoo crying in the dream and I wake
Of
up
course.
pillow soaked and I'm running my
Mhm.
nose and like it is the
Yeah.
worst thing that I ever just saw was my mom dying.
Yeah.
Right?
Mhm.
And you can't just shake that off. You're not
Yeah.
you can be like, oh my God, what a dream, and then just be like, go on for the rest of your day. No, you want to call your mom.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
It was like that.
So you were just living in that just dread and sadness
Immediate,
because that is something that you've experienced now. And
immediately after. But here's the more fucked up part is that it wasn't just my mom that died. It was my mom that died,
everyone.
but it was also my kids. It was you.
Right.
It was Jacob. It was my job. You know what I'm saying? It was my
Right.
car. It was my apartment. It was every person that I dated, every person that I ever met, all my
Uh-huh.
teachers, and every experience that I ever had.
They're gone.
Everything was gone. Everything.
Wow.
So
That's intense,
going on.
man. That's
Yeah.
intense, man. I hope that I was I don't know, empathetic and shit like that during that time for you because I obviously how serious that fucking was and how hard and how emotional it made you and how negatively, at least in that time where you were depressed, you know what I mean, like how hard that was for you. But everyone else doesn't fully, people around you are just like, oh yeah, you had a bad trip, like no big deal, but like you were going through it, and so I don't even know, like hopefully I was, I don't know.
Yeah, you were, and Nick was, and even Jacob was.
Yeah. Okay.
So everybody was like really cool. Matt Rife, his
Supportive.
girlfriend were. Yeah.
Okay.
Enough said, Steph. Cool.
Yeah.
Everybody was cool about it.
Okay.
Because it's there's a polarization to it. Is
Yeah.
that it can be the most awesome thing that you ever experience in your life, and nothing can ever, 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 ever come close.
Or it's the
Or
worst thing and nothing ever.
absolute worst thing could ever happen to you. Times 1,000, times infinity again.
Oh my
Only
god.
equal a quarter of that.
Fuck, dude.
I know.
That's some shit, man.
Yeah, it's
Wow.
extreme. There is no middle ground. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
it is
Oh,
one
yeah.
extreme or the other. You are rolling the dice, brother.
Yeah.
You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying?
And that all happened in your mind.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like it didn't happen anywhere else.
No.
You were still there physically. Everybody else was still watching you have a trip. They didn't know what kind of trip you were having. They were
I got
just like, oh,
video
this is great,
evidence. I got video evidence of me.
You were
sitting on
still
the couch.
physically here You know what I mean? But in your mind, everything was gone.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
And that's why I have a different understanding of the world. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, well, I'm not even trying to put myself on any kind of pedestal whenever I say that. It's just
No, this is just us, you know.
like I look at the world very differently because I realize that in a moment it could blink out like that again. And that horrifies me.
Yeah.
But it's inevitable. That's the thing.
Yeah.
It's inevitable that it blinks out.
Yeah.
You know, and it's not just like a gradual, like, oh, there goes my body, or there's Aunt Susan, or I can't believe, you know, Grandpa
Just
waited on me. No, it's like
lights out.
you're remembering, your memory of everybody is starting to fade away.
Oh, so not only were they gone, but you were starting to not even remember that they existed in the first place.
Yeah, and I almost got to a point, and this was in the final seconds of getting ready to come out of the void and wake up and everything. I got to a point to where I was almost like
giving into the experience.
I was almost accepting that this is how it was now.
Yeah.
Holy you know? And that was fucked up.
Well, even then you still had to let go. Like you had to like, well, I guess this is, you know what I mean? This is what it is now. And I have to just kind of be here for this too. Right.
Yeah. Yeah. It's almost like, you know, people, you ever hear like stories or you see movies of like somebody who, kills somebody.
Yeah.
Right. Like you don't go back from that. You're now somebody who has killed somebody.
Right.
You know, like you're looking at the world through the lens of a murderer.
Right. Right.
Like that doesn't, you can't just wake up.
There's no option. Right.
Yeah. And so not even compared to that, but like
you are now
extremes. Yeah.
You are now somebody that looks at things from being in the void and made it back.
I'm looking at it from everything that I live right now is just extra.
Just bonus. You're in the bonus round, baby girl.
I'm in the bonus round.
All right. Well,
that's it.
Let's make the most of it, man. You know?
Fuck yeah. All right. The one we are going to be getting into this meditation for you to remember. That is the key piece. The key is you. The whole is also you. That's the crazy thing about this whole thing is that it's all within you. You don't need to seek anywhere else. It's just all within. This is what Thoth was talking about with the Ankh. This is what Jesus was talking about, you know, with the, I'm not going to go Christ consciousness, but you get what I'm trying to say. Let's just try and find out. Maybe we'll go 10 minutes. Maybe we'll go 15 minutes. We'll see where it goes. So we're going to start it here. Oh, by the way, this is from Deep Calm Melodies, and it's called Mystical Serenity, Spiritual Healing Meditation, Background Relaxing Ambiance. And it does sound like a nice ambiance. So we're going to get there. We're going to start it here in 3, 2, 1, let go. Yeah, that was a good meditation. Unfortunately, YouTube has commercial interruption during some of the meditations, and I will never understand that.
So even we have to listen to commercials, you know?
Yeah, it's the very reason why we don't post on YouTube or any of the podcasts, because we don't want them to be commercially interrupted, and even we have to experience that.
That was
as
so
we're trying to meditate.
Jarring, dude.
I know.
like one of them was like boom, like whatever music they were playing. I was like, oh my god, like my whole inner world was just like, what's going on?
Like lightning.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
No, it was fascinating. I think it's interesting. Not to cut you off. I hope you can remember what you were about to say.
Yeah.
But I think it's very fascinating, you know, the things that I used to look forward to when it came to starting a meditation, you know? Like I used to, and it's still cool if it happens. I'm always down for some visual or something cool like that, you know? But nowadays, dude, I don't expect anything like that. I'm almost not even rooting for it nowadays. I'm really just trying to garner just information or just the thoughts that I'm having, and then I expound on that thought, or depending on which thought I pick to examine or really try to contemplate. But that's where I'm going now. You know,
Yeah.
I'm really trying to get to the bottom of just myself, really. I'm really trying to get to that true essence, or whatever you want to call it, which is so, I don't know, I think it's weird, because you are you, right? And so you would think you would just know who that is,
Right.
you're with yourself all the time, but there's just so much, like the guy was saying, as far as the noise and the story and the ego and the distraction and all, just everything that's always kind of buzzing all at once, that you don't even, if you sit there and someone's like, "Who are you?" You're like, "Well, I'm married to my wife. I got 3 kids. You start saying things that you've done, like, but like, who are you? What is it about you that you want me to know or understand about you? What are you bringing to the table?" You know what I mean? I don't know.
Yeah.
Just very fascinating when you start to really think about that stuff. And then, like we said before, as far as getting to that shadow and really trying to merge the two, and so yeah, and whenever I go into a meditation nowadays, that's where I'm going. I'm really trying to see where the thoughts go. Sometimes I'll even go into the future of like this conversation that we're having right now. Like, oh, maybe I can bring this up because that was kind of interesting, and like, and then
Yeah.
I'm like, wait, what am I doing? Like, I'm
Yeah, you gotta
already
catch
in
yourself.
meditation going to the future, which is like the opposite of what you're trying to do,
Right.
And
Right.
so I don't know. That's kind of what I was contemplating.
Well, that's interesting, dude. Yeah, it's good not to expect anything. That's the beauty of meditation, is to release all expectation, release all connection to any specific thought or emotion, and just swim in the pool of you, and that's it. And you know what's crazy is that the deep, and everybody has their different levels of deep, and it's like, I don't know. How do we know that the same color red that I'm looking at is the same exact color red that
Yeah.
you're looking at, and we're just
It's
calling it
all
the same thing? It's like,
Right.
how do we compare these things, as to
can't.
what our experiences are?
Mhm.
But I was thinking, like the deepest level that I got in that meditation, which I love, it feels like so effortless.
Mhm.
Like at the beginning of the meditation, I was, still in my thoughts and that kind of stuff, and I was thinking, oh man, tomorrow I got to shoot 2 shows, and I got the kids, and it's like it's gonna be
Yeah.
a busy day tomorrow.
You did a little
know?
time traveling too, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I was like, you know what? Let me get out of that headspace. Like, it's not that I have to, it's that I get to, and I'm trying to just
Mhm.
become, more appreciative and looking at life in that way.
Mhm.
And whenever I got super deep, I was able to then bounce back to that thought of like, let's see if now that I'm super deep in this meditation, that I'm able to look at that through a different lens now that I'm in this
Mhm.
deep lens,
Yeah.
And dude, it seemed like, oh, that's all I got to do.
Right.
Like it was
Right.
so easy that I just,
Mhm.
all I got to do is just experience tomorrow.
Right.
Like that's
Mhm.
all. And it was
That's
just, it's, and what I also like about being so super deep in meditation, at least in that moment, was that I was like, it just seemed so easy to be there. And it also seemed like I'm trying to put it into words. Like that place doesn't seem unfamiliar.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? And it's like
Mhm.
I got to a point where I was like I was trying to like tell myself like I love you. You know what I mean? In that
Mhm.
moment. And I just said, I love you, and I care about you, and I'm always here for you, and that
Mhm.
kind of thing, right? And even in
Mhm.
that moment, it was like it felt weird saying it,
Mhm.
because
Yeah.
it's not that I'm coming necessarily from a completely polar opposite advantage from that point,
Mhm.
is that it still feels like you,
Mhm.
but it just feels, and so that's how it's like things like that I personally, experienced, to where I'm like, oh, yeah, that's what we are. That
Mhm.
it's not something that is hidden and forbidden, and you're not supposed to talk about it, and you know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like it's something
Yep.
that you're always with. It's just subtle, but it doesn't mean that it's always far away at all.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
so that's, just looking at it from that advantage. But then I was started to think like, I thought it was silly about how like in religion they'll talk about God as if it's a him. And if you look back at it, it was all created, like all the books were at least compiled within, Christianity and whatnot, all by men. So of course it's going to be, they're referring to God as a him, and they'll
Right.
come up with 6 ways to Sunday as to how God is absolutely a he, right?
Mhm.
And I was thinking like, man, I feel bad for all the women that are talking to their higher selves, calling it a him. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was just thinking like, you think God is a him. It's
Right.
not. It's like inside of you, it's a her, right? Or at least it's androgynous, right?
Right.
Like,
Mhm.
but you wouldn't say, oh, my higher self is a man. I mean, maybe you
Right.
would. Maybe you identify as that, whatever. I'm not judging. I'm just saying that, like, it's like, how crazy is it? And then even like within the Bible too, not the judge, but they'll say that like the man is supposed to be like the closest connection to God in the household, right?
Mhm.
And
Yep.
that the way that the man is supposed to worship God is to the way that the woman is supposed to worship her husband.
Yeah, that's
I'm like, dude,
Mhm.
there's no you, and they're
Mhm.
buying it.
They're
It's like,
buying it.
It's crazy.
Yeah, dude, I know. But you know what? Like you said, we're not here to judge, I mean, if that's how you want to do, that's fine, I mean,
Yeah,
so.
sure.
But
So
yeah,
I don't know.
there was real quick, there was another thing I was thinking about as far as, and I know that I think we've said it before, as far as like changing, instead of trying to change, because I think we've said it before, man, like we're trying to help everyone like awaken, and like it seems like this big thing that's like so impossible, but it's like you don't change everybody, you change yourself. It's like that whole thing, like you can't change the people around you, but you can change the people around you type of mentality. It's
Yeah.
like you're just changing, instead of like changing the people, but like you're changing how you experience everything around you. And I think that, I don't know, for me that is just so huge, man, and I want people to really really try to understand that, not that it's that hard to understand, I'm not saying that, but I'm just saying like I think that's huge, man.
Oh, dude, you
It's so
change
big.
you change your inner world to change your outer world. That
Yeah.
like if you got a bunch of shadow work that needs worked on, good luck changing on the outside.
Yep.
Like
There's no
and-
amount of change on the outside that you can do.
Right, because it's the outside world is only going to manifest as a result of what's coming from your own inner light.
Right. Right.
And
Mhm.
so if you're having a terrible day and every single thing bad is just happening to you all the time, well, I mean, it's got to be a reflection of what's going on in the
Right.
inner world. And I don't mean to even say that as a judgment at all. I'm just saying, think about it. What if that is the case?
Mhm.
Like,
Because
what
not
if-
everybody's out there having a bad day every day.
No,
Not
no.
everybody.
Yeah, and they say that like good things happen to bad people, and I believe that.
Mhm.
I mean, good things happen to bad people,
Bad
and
things happen to good people.
and bad things happen to good people, of course,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
And you were like, oh man, well that's just not fair. Well, I mean, if you're the one in charge of that, even unconsciously, subconsciously, right?
Mhm.
If you're the one in charge of that, it's like, I mean, I'm not trying to point any fingers as to whose fault it is, but to say that you have no hand in it is almost
Right.
blasphemous at that point.
Exactly. And what's interesting about this too is that, knowing us, we like to try to understand, what's on the other side, like we covered the near death experiences, and obviously none of us are going to know what that is until that time comes, but all of this information, I feel like mostly is for the time right now, or, not, well, do this. And so that way, when that time comes, you're in a better place. It's like, put yourself in a better place here now.
Yeah,
It's practical. It's right here. It's inside,
dude. And that's why it's so important to meditate so often, dude, because that version of you that is in touch with your highest self, you want to call it your highest self or your higher self or your inner guardian or the God within or whatever, like that is easily accessed through meditation. Easily, every time. There's never not a time. It's always accessible. Now, it might take somebody 10 minutes. Maybe it takes somebody 15 minutes. Maybe it takes somebody an hour. Everybody's different. But, you know, we've been meditating pretty regularly, at least twice a week for the last 2 years. And that's, you know, some would look at that as like it's peanuts. But compared to the majority, I think we're doing pretty damn good.
Well, that's the least amount. You know, I mean, obviously we're doing meditation in our own time here and there. You know, for me, mostly it's like right before bed. Like that's the sweet spot, dude. That's when I'm 1 foot in that other world, you know, and it's just like but I'm still aware, and I'm just like, what's going on? Who am I?
In the in between. Yeah.
Yeah. So
yeah, it's man, there was something else I wanted to bring it up too. Oh yeah. So as many of you know, I will be moving out to Arizona here in a couple of weeks, just for a wee little while to be able to save up to buy a house, because God forbid anything's, you know, cheap nowadays.
Yeah.
And, you know, I mean, it's difficult for everybody. I'm not trying to say that it's just hard on me by any means. It just sucks. But I'm going to be going out there, and whenever I come back, I plan on buying a house. And I was trying to like think about what my house is going to look like. What do I want it to look like? I'm trying to envision it, because if you remember, whenever I moved from Louisiana to Texas, I didn't know exactly where I was going to be staying yet. I had a place that I was going to be staying temporarily if I needed it, but I didn't want to have to do that. And so I was trying to think and just put myself in the position of imagining what my apartment was going to look like. I knew it was going to be an apartment, but I had no idea what it was going to look like. I had never been to any apartment in Texas, and apartments are different everywhere you go, right? So I was just trying to envision it, and I was able to almost exactly describe in that meditation, before I ever even moved to Texas, I was almost able to exactly describe what my apartment was like, what it is like, to a T, almost. Like so close. I'm talking about the window placement, the fireplace, I mean, the layout of the living room. That's like that's where I was I was envisioning what the living room was going to look like, right?
Yeah.
And so I tried to do that, you know, as for like my house whenever I moved back to Texas.
Why wouldn't you?
And so I was trying to imagine, like, what do I really want? And because I've been trying to bounce back and forth between ideas about, you know, do I want to live in a neighborhood or do I want a cabin? I've always wanted a cabin, but then I started looking into those barn dominiums, which are sick and they're like pretty cheap to build in comparison. And I was like trying to imagine what it would look like. And dude, I'm back on the cabin train, baby.
You want some land? I was gonna say, you know, you don't need to be like deep in the woods and shit where like you're so secluded. I mean, unless you want to do that, that's fine too.
I wouldn't be opposed to it.
I imagine, you know, having some land would be really cool.
Yeah, yeah. And
just
I
your
was
own space.
Yeah, and I was trying to just think about even like the shape of the cabin, and like, dude, I love those A-frame cabins. They're so sick. If you ever seen those, it's like so mystical. And like, that's just what I want, you know?
Right.
And I don't need nothing crazy. I mean, I got 2 kids, so I need 3 bedrooms, but I don't need to be huge or anything like that.
Right.
Like, like I just want I want a place of peace.
Yeah.
And whenever I think about a place of peace, I think about a cabin in the woods. For some reason, it just goes there.
Well, that's your place of peace, man. So you might as well just imagine that and keep your mind on it and think about it all the time and start looking at things like that. And, you know, I know that, you know, you think of manifestation and it's like, oh, I don't know, you know what I mean? But if you just focus that time and energy and attention on that one thing, dude, for some reason, you know, it just works.
I'm just tuning into that. I'm just tuning into that, you know, lifetime or something, you know?
Yeah.
So, and I was even thinking about like the moss growing up the sides of the roof and everything. And
Of course. Every mystic has some moss growing somewhere.
Yeah, and of course there's like a big oak tree with a tire swing or something like that.
No one knows who put it there. It's just been there, you know?
maybe the Fae folk put it there. Who knows at this point?
That's what I'm leaning towards, really, if you ask me.
So anyway, all right, well, we're going to wrap this bad boy up. This was a fun one, dude. And hopefully we were able to set the tone for the rest of the episodes that are going to be moving forward and just looking at, reality, both outer and inner in this sense. And so hopefully you guys enjoyed that, and hopefully you got a little something from it. And we love you, and we'll see you on the flip side.
Bye, guys.